Premium unlimited line. Now, sit back and relax with the smooth, relaxing sound
of face-melting acid metal!
Brilliant.
Visit Xfinity.com to learn more. Ends June 23rd with paperless billing and autopay to stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet gateway required. Taxes, fees extra. After 1 year rate increases to $110 a month. After 2 years, regular rates apply. Actual Wi-Fi speeds vary. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024.
Greetings from our agency, your Indiana Health Insurance Pros, and a sincere thank you to our loyal customers for making us national sales leaders once again for 2024. Crazy sign-up periods are at last over. If you were told the ACA and you know it's still Obamacare was your only option, that's just not true. If you were told since you've signed up already, you must keep your ACA program for a year, that's not true either. If you do not have serious health problems, and God forbid make a living wage, the ACA is your worst option, and it can be canceled at any time. We feature coverages guaranteed age 65, low out-of-pocket expenses, the largest networks in the country, and you can sign up anytime. Self-employed, early retiree, or ACA victim, call us at 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. That's 317-563-0868 or rragency.org. As always, God bless America. Peace through strength and common sense government.
Pat Sullivan here for Gutter Helmet. Are you still putting screens on your gutters? If the holes are too big, debris gets in, and you're still cleaning your gutters. If the holes are too small, it sits on top, and now you're cleaning the screens. I have Gutter Helmet on my home, and it has no holes, slots, or screens. It keeps the debris out and the water in. Since 1981, Gutter Helmet has been America's #1 choice for gutter protection. Right now, Gutter Helmet is offering a 19% discount, plus, get this, 12 months no interest financing if paid in full within 12 months. Give them a call at 800-5HELMET. That's 800-5HELMET to schedule a free estimate. 19% off restrictions apply and cannot be combined with other offers. Call Gutter Helmet today at 800-5HELMET or go to gutterhelmetindy.com and never clean your gutters again.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recycler Studios, what you can expect from the skies later on this week as temperatures will be going up. A canine in Hancock County is dead after having to be subdued. The body of a man found after being missing for 3 years is identified. And we're getting you ready for the Pacers and the Cavs Game 5 tonight in Cleveland. You're listening to 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 9 o'clock.
Taking a Buy American message to the Middle East. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and President Trump is in Saudi Arabia. He just thanked the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman for a lot of investment in the U.S.
In the United States, it's probably 2 million jobs that we're talking about this visit.
President Trump then said, I like visiting with you. I really believe we like each other a lot.
Fox's Peter Doocy in Riyadh, the first stop on a Middle East trip that will also take the president to the United Arab Emirates and Qatar.
He thinks this trip could yield $1 trillion in new spending from Middle Eastern countries and companies in the United States over the next 4 years. $600 billion of that coming from Saudi Arabia.
Now, also on this trip, President Trump is expected to have a phone call with Idana Alexander, the 21-year-old Israeli soldier from New Jersey, the last living American hostage that Hamas freed in an attempt to get a new ceasefire with Israel. And that is when Alexander was reunited with his mom yesterday, hugging him. We just got an inflation update showing consumer prices rose a little less in April than Wall Street expected.
We came in at 0.2% month over month.
Fox Business Network Cheryl Casoni.
2.3% is the headline number year over year. The Street's estimate was 2.4. So again, that's a lighter number than expected.
It's also slightly less than March, making this the lowest annual rate of inflation, 2.3% since February 2021. Kim Kardashian on the witness stand in Paris testifying.
I absolutely did think I was going to die, Kim Kardashian's words as she recounts being bound at gunpoint in a Paris hotel suite. The attack happened in 2016, and this is the first time she's confronted the men accused of robbing her of more than $6 million worth of jewelry.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. Earlier in Paris, famous actor Gerard Depardieu was convicted in another trial of sexually assaulting 2 women on a movie set. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level.
on the go.
Severe weather possible this week. Cloudy skies, 65 degrees on Monument Circle. No rain on the radar. Your high today, 75. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 9:02. Maybe you've heard Indiana could be dealing with severe weather on Thursday.
The potential is pretty high. There could be a lot of instability, a lot of shear coming in with a second weather system that'll be well to our northwest.
Alex McGinnis with the National Weather Service here in Indianapolis says severe storms could bring them hail, damaging winds, and the possibility for tornadoes. A K-9 with the Greenfield Police Department has died after an encounter with an off-duty police officer in New Palestine. Greenfield Deputy Chief Charles McMichael says K-9 Ace got loose from his residence in New Palestine Monday night while his handler wasn't home and ran to the neighbor's house where the New Pal off-duty officer was. Officers say Ace bit that officer, causing him serious injuries and sending him to an Indianapolis hospital. That officer was able to subdue the K-9, which sadly resulted in the dog's death. That incident is under investigation. We now know the identity of a man whose body was found in the woods in Bloomington 2 months ago. Chris Davis reports.
Remains found in Bloomington in March belonged to a man missing for 3 years, says the Monroe County Coroner's Office.
I know a lot of people had speculation, that this missing person, this identified remains, was initially Lawrence Spear. There was some early discussion that it was, then it wasn't, kind of back and forth.
Coroner Jeff Hall says, though, it does provide closure to another family. John Baker Jr., who was 40, went missing in 2022, and it has now been determined that he committed suicide in the woods near Meadows Hospital. His remains were found by a crew working there March 26th. Chris Davis, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The Indiana Pacers have a chance to put this thing to bed tonight, talking about the Eastern Conference semifinal series with the Cleveland Cavaliers. They are up 3-1. After utter domination at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Game 4.
We haven't done anything yet. We're a pretty significant underdog in every game we've played in this series, and that will continue.
Head coach Rick Carlisle is right. The Pacers are currently 7.5-point underdogs for tonight's game, according to most sports books. Tonight's tip-off is at 7 Eastern. Traffic on the 5s. Good morning, Matt Bear.
Good morning, Jarrett. Eastbound 465 crash at the White River. That's between Keystone Avenue and Allisonville Road, blocking the right lane, stopping us to Westfield Boulevard now. Almost to Meridian Street is this backup. More of a slowdown than anything, but we have a delay time of 27 minutes. South side, northbound 65, stop and go after South Keystone Avenue into the South Split, a 6-minute delay. Inbound 69 delayed by 4 minutes from 106th Street to 82nd. And a crash on the west side. This is northbound to 465 at West 10th Street, blocking the left shoulder. Traffic sponsored by True Green. Summer is better with True Green. Get a lawn you'll love for less than you think. Don't wait. Sign up at TrueGreen.com and get 75% off your first treatment. Restrictions apply. I'm Matt Bear with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
You ready to build your custom dream home? Check out Joyner Homes, based out of Greenfield. See one of their model homes in person anytime. It is a great way for you to experience the customization and quality of a Joyner Homes custom-built home. Plus, you can meet with a new home specialist to learn about their building process. Available lots if you don't already have one. Find out about floor plans and where they build. Model homes are open 7 days a week from noon to 5, and walk-ins are welcome. Find out more at JoynerHomes.com.
Millions of illegal aliens crossed our southern border under Biden administration policies. But now, things are changing. This is your Congressman, Jefferson Shreve. I'm committed to securing our borders and to protecting our Hoosier communities. I'm delivering for you. Because of Republican leadership, illegal border crossings are at an all-time low. I'm leading the charge to complete the southern border wall and deport illegal aliens. I'm fighting for Indiana and working for you in Congress.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
This week at Sullivan Hardware and Garden, get 30% off all patio furniture, wicker, Berlin Gardens, poly, cast aluminum, teak, and more.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's Diamond Engagement Ring Store.
Forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Partly cloudy skies for the day today. We'll look for afternoon showers and thunderstorms possible with highs near 77. A scattered shower early, mild tonight with lows in the 60s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Tara Hastings for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Jarrett Lewis. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Kendall Casey starts now.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Casey, we might as well change the state name.
Okay, what would you like to change it to?
I mean, we've been Indiana since 1816, right? But I think Indiana has worn out its welcome. I think moving forward, we should change the official state name to crony capitalism.
Oh, well, that would be a direct reflection on our government.
Now, see, the positives of this, it would make all the woke people happy because remember a couple of years ago, people forget, this is how ridiculous our governor and our government got in 2020. At one point, after the whole riots and Holcomb called them noble people and then had the meet and greet with the domestic terrorists, you remember all that, right?
Yeah. That's around the time you were called a human petri dish.
That's right, yes. So if you remember the timeline, there was a very peaceful protest outside of the governor's residence. People went, said their piece, picked up all their trash. Holcomb called those people a human petri dish. Then the Good Time Fun Gang destroyed the city. Holcomb came out, didn't call in the National Guard, didn't do anything to stop it, called them a noble cause.
Right.
Then a couple days later, Malik Muhammad led the group of, no doubt, highly well-meaning individuals.
Mostly peaceful people.
From downtown to the governor's residence, threatened to seize the governor's residence on live TV, and then his punishment for that was nothing. He got a meet and greet with the governor. The governor let him write part of the police reform bill. Then he skedoodled out to Portland and is now in jail for attempting to kill cops.
Correct. I remember all that.
Okay, so just make sure we have the timeline right. About that time when Holcomb was in full woke mode, he got asked by some member of the media about changing the state name because it was demeaning to Indians, because it's based on Indians, right? Indiana. And he didn't rule it out. People remember, he did not explicitly look at that reporter and go, get the hell out of my sight. He didn't rule it out. So it would make those people happy. The Holcomb woke crowd would be happy that we'd be getting rid of the Indiana name that is insulting to the Indians, and also it would accurately reflect what is going on in the state, which is one crony capitalistic deal after another. What do you think? I think henceforth we should change the state name, and there's a lot of states with two names: South Dakota, North Dakota, New Mexico, New York. We could be a two-name state, crony capitalism.
Or we could be East Illinois or West Ohio, Southern Michigan, Northern Kentucky. I don't know. That seems like a lot of work, Rob. You're going to have to change all those state signs.
Crony capitalism, the crossroads of America. Okay, so we're talking about another deal in which a mega corporation, a very large, very powerful, very rich company is getting a huge amount of money from you, the taxpayer, to do business in the state of Indiana.
Don't you love all the headlines? Roche Diagnostics will invest $550 million to expand its Indianapolis facility. And then you get into the details.
Okay, so Roche, the market cap on Roche, I think this is important. This will tell you what these companies are worth. This is why we talk about this. $257.01 billion.
Oh, wow, with a B.
$257.01 billion is the market share of Roche Diagnostics. Roche, let's see, what is the stock price of Roche? It's $39.35. Okay, so they have now struck some deal with the state of Indiana in which they're going to get basically $60 million in economic incentives to basically bring a bunch of foreign workers into our state.
Yeah, so part of this deal is a 10-year property tax abatement from the city of Indianapolis and also $20 million in state tax credits.
So you put 40 and 20 together, and a company with $257.01 billion market cap needed $60 million from you, the poor and middle class, in order to continue to do business in our state.
Yes, but you're skipping over the good part, Rob.
Oh, there's more.
They're creating 650 new jobs.
So the question for this will be, what sort of workers will this be? Are there 650? Are there 650 Hoosiers? Because this is the conversation that we keep having when they always throw out the jobs, right? They always throw out the jobs. Will there be 650 Hoosiers capable of doing these jobs by which because that's whose money you're taking to make this happen, by which their salaries, their lifestyle will be elevated? The answer is hell no. These workers are going to be coming, many of them, from out of state, which means you, the poor and middle class, are having tens of millions of your dollars taken from you to facilitate better lives for people who don't live here, who will come here, bring their politics with them, by the way, and continue to change the landscape. That's the best case scenario. Another scenario is a bunch of people who ain't from this country are going to be coming here, and they're not only going to be bringing their lifestyle of another state, they're going to be bringing their lifestyle, their values from another country over here with them. So congratulations, that's where your money went.
Yeah, you're paying for this. So Roche is going to refurbish an existing building. They maybe construct some new ones to meet any future demand. And this production that they're going to ramp up will begin within 3 years. So to recap, the company that has a market cap of $257.01 billion.
Don't forget the 01, because that may sound small, but that's when we're talking billions. That's what is it? Is that 10 million? Is that right? Is that correct? Yeah, that's $10 million. So
257.01 billion dollars.
257 billion, 10 million.
They're getting the 10-year property tax abatement and also $20 million in tax credits. So.
And so this is where you look at and you say to yourself, okay, so how is it possible that when you have Lilly and Roche and the rest of these people, they're doing all of these mega expansions, the data centers, everything, how is it that our property taxes keep going up? How is it that there's essentially no change in the income tax? Why are our roads so porous and the only way to fix them is to raise taxes on people, tolling gas tax? Why is it that these wheel taxes are going up? If all of these mega corporations and all these bright, shiny objects are doing so much good for humanity and for Hoosiers, why do our taxes keep going up? When does this thing pay off? When does the benefit actually happen?
Well, these tax abatements, it's just corporate welfare in disguise, right?
Totally.
Yeah. They say they're committed to the community.
Our dear friend of the show, famed economist, Duke economist, Dr. Michael Munger, years ago, told me they are BSOs, bright, shiny objects. They are something to get headlines. There's something to get in the paper. There's something for the politicians to go to the ribbon cutting for. And what they realize is the people will see the headline and they won't read past it, and they won't, unless you're listening to this program and others here on WIBC, you won't actually think for yourself. You'll just say, well, that's awesome. They're doing this huge thing. This is going to be great for our state. Really? Because we keep doing the things, and it never seems to be great for you, the taxpayer.
Well, and these deals, they often lack accountability as well, and they don't deliver on the promised economic benefits. And you never hear about that side of things, and it just leaves us taxpayers footing the bill for all of these, businesses that we're supporting.
Yeah, so there you go. We're off running. I would like to pitch that. If somebody can talk to Governor Braun, I would, because I don't think he's going to return my calls these days, changing the state name from, and you could even get creative with it if you want to. Are there any states with 3 names? New crony capitalism, if you wanted to just throw a little spice in. Are there any states with 3 names?
I don't believe so.
No, this would be a first.
Yeah.
We're always about being trendsetters, right? New crony cap. Where did you move to? New crony capitalism.
That's just going to take a whole lot of money to, redistribute all the merch.
Oh, now we're worried about spending a bunch of money on things, Casey.
Oh, boy. Oh, right. No, that's what we do best.
And then if you move here, you know exactly what you're signing up for, because we are the
in the name.
We are the kings of crony cap. What we are, and what? No, we got to get to a break. But what we are saying by when we keep doing these sort of deals, is there's no value to our state. The only value to being here, what they're saying out loud, there is no value to being in Indiana unless we give you stuff. That's it. That's why they're here. There's no value, there's no incentive to being in Indiana unless we give you stuff. How embarrassing.
So Donald Trump is making some news. He just landed in Saudi Arabia. He saluted the generals while he was there. That is getting a little bit of criticism. Some people think that it's a sign of respect. Other people think that it should not be done to foreign military officials. We'll talk about him and what he's got going on the way from 93 WIBC.
Another update is just minutes away.
In Riyadh, the president will be pushing for more investment into the U.S.
Saudi Arabia. This is an important relationship.
Hear the news.
Severe weather on Thursday.
There'll be a lot of instability, a lot of shear coming in.
Hail, damaging winds, and the possibility for tornadoes.
As events happen.
Final clemency hearing for Benjamin Ritchie.
We'll happen to be there.
Killing Beech Grove police officer Bill Toney.
I am at Bill's funeral all over again.
Sole decision of Governor Mike Braun.
93 WIBC Mobile News.
You know that feeling of a fresh, clean home? This is Denny Smith for Zero Res, and I want you to think about everything that's always left behind in and on your floors. Dirt and dust, allergens, pet dander, maybe even some mystery stains. Well, it's time to get Zero Resified. Zero Res can clean virtually any surface in your home, and for a limited time, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at just $129 and take $75 off air duct cleaning. That's real savings on a deep clean. And remember, Zero Res's patented ZR water cleans with no soaps, no residue, no harsh chemicals. It's clean, safe, and effective. Don't risk it with the other guys, and don't do it yourself with your carpet cleaning. It will end up soaked for days and actually do more damage than good. Keep the mud outside and not under your carpets. Just call Zero Res and mention WIBC to get 3 rooms cleaned starting at just $129 plus $75 off air duct cleaning. 317-388-5141. ZeroResIndy.com.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of women and nearly 20% of men suffer from varicose or spider veins. Left untreated, these veins can cause tired, heavy legs, swelling, burning, cramping, aching, even restless leg syndrome. In some cases, it can lead to serious health risks like blood clots. USA Vein Clinics offers minimally invasive treatments that take as little as 15 minutes, covered by most insurances. Call 317-516-6861 and schedule your appointment today. Don't wait. 317-516-6861 for free information today. Imagine walking, exercising, and sleeping peacefully again. Varicose and spider veins won't go away on their own. USA Vein Clinics can help. Call 317-516-6861 for fast, easy, affordable solutions. USA Vein Clinic's treatments are covered by most insurance plans. Don't put this off any longer. Call 317-516-6861.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
Hi, Jeff Roush for Tom Roush Lincoln. Right now, get Lincoln's employee pricing on most all new Lincolns at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers. Get up to $20,000 off select 2024 Navigators, up to $8,000 off select 2024 Nautilus, or up to $7,000 off select 2024 Corsair at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Navigator MSRP 105,575, Nautilus MSRP 6195, Corsair MSRP 47,820. Offers good through May 31st, 2025. Navigators excluded from employee pricing. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Indiana Foundation Service comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at indianafoundation.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for detail.
The Attorney General's office wants to put your money back in your pocket. Visit indianaunclaimed.gov and search for yourself, your loved ones, or your business. It's fast, easy, and free.
Start her engine by racing into Pierce Jewelers in Carmel for that perfect diamond engagement ring that will put you in the winner's circle. Shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
This is the epic story that takes a whole month to tell. This is May. The legendary intense action of the month of May continues as PPG presents Armed Forces Indy 500 qualifying and the thrilling drama of the fight for the pole position. The most epic month continues with Indy's most epic party, Miller Lite Carb Day. And all roads lead to the 109th running of the Indianapolis 500 presented by Gainbridge. This is epic. This is legendary. This is May. Buy now and save. Get tickets at IMS.com.
What is 988?
It's a free 24-hour suicide and crisis lifeline.
And what is a crisis?
Maybe something you experience so often.
You don't even think it's a crisis. Anxiety over money.
A stressful relationship.
Concerns about a loved one's mental health. If you are experiencing thoughts of suicide or mental health or substance use crisis, call or text 988.
It's a listening ear.
And it's a way forward.
Oh, okay. So I know you want to get to the Trump stuff. And we will. We will get to that. But I before we do, I want to piggyback off the segment we did just a moment ago. Because something came to me in a dream last night.
Oh,
and it was one of those
fever dream?
I've talked about this where I awake from a terrible dream. Actually, the dream You ever tried to study dreams? Do they have any idea what dreams actually are?
A little.
Yeah. So last night I was in the I don't know.
Were your teeth falling out?
No, it was.
I think that's a bad sign.
It's actually pretty wild. I was the State House came alive and was trying to eat me. It was chasing me down Market Street.
That sounds right. What do you mean? The building?
Like the building became a thing and it started chasing me down Market Street.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
But I woke from this dream, and as I was laying there staring at the ceiling, it then takes me forever to go back to sleep, and something dawned on me. And it really is. We have to give credit to this is why I am the way that I am.
One of the many reasons.
You know, remember in The Sandlot where they're like, Benny would have played baseball all day, all night, every day, all day if he could have gotten away with it. That is me with government. Like I would think about government all day, all night, all day, every day if I could get away with it. And so I'm laying there at 2:30 in the morning staring at the ceiling, and this dawned on me about how brilliant what the General Assembly, the leadership of this state, and not really the General Assembly, they're really puppets in the process, and the governors are really puppets in the process. But what the General Assembly and the governors have been manipulated into doing by donors and lobbyists over the past 20 years, you have to take your hat off to these people, because they have crafted a brilliant strategy by which to forever change the landscape of the state of Indiana. And what I mean is, unwillingly, so many people have been really just manipulated through the legalized vote buying process of going along with what these people did. And that was a clear and unmistakable remake of Indiana, what it is, the values it represents, the landscape of the state. And what happened was, this centers around the tippy top people. So these mega corporations, like we talked about with Roche, or we've talked numerous times about Eli Lilly, there are a lot of people who looked at our state with disdain and scorn. Like they're embarrassed to be from here. The idea of what it meant to be a Hoosier embarrassed them. And their version of what Indiana should be is bringing these megacorps into, I mean, you've seen it take place in places like Charlotte and Raleigh, if you're familiar with the Carolinas, and it has happened across this state, the remaking of areas to fit the mold of what a select group of people believe that thing should be. And so what they've done is they have taken money from poor and middle class people, and they have used that money in the state brilliantly to facilitate the takeover by these oftentimes foreign mega corporations, right? And in order to get enough people on board or to not pay attention to what's going on, they have also used the legalized vote buying process to buy the apathy of enough of the lower income people. And you look at what have they done? The massive expansion of Medicaid, the massive expansion of the Healthy Indiana Plan, the massive expansion of pre-kindergarten, of public education. See, on one hand, they'll tell you, well, we got to get out of the public education system. Record money for charter and private schools. And then also at the same time, record money for public education. Public education's failing everyone. Here's more money.
Right.
So all of these things, whether it's the expansion of the pre-kindergarten program, the daycare stuff, the Medicaid expansion, has bought off these people on economically the lower end of the totem pole. So they're not paying attention or really all that pissed off either. And then what you're left with is this middle class group of people who are being squeezed out of that and down into a lower bracket as they're literally being replaced as these companies, these mega corporations. The state is taking money from the middle class. They're giving it to these mega corporations who are then using that money to bring in foreign workers, oftentimes foreign to the entire country, much less the state of Indiana. And you, the middle class, are seeing your existence strangled and squeezed away from you, while the people who should be fighting with you, which are the lower income people, are being taken care of enough to the point where they're not even seeing it happen. And then you look around, and 20 years later, you don't recognize the landscape of the place you grew up and the place you've lived your life, in some cases, for generations. How was that analysis, Casey?
It's really good. They're subsidizing profits rather than investing in people. That's what's going on.
You're right. And so,
I mean, they'll tell you they're investing in you, but that's with the Medicaid.
This is not, and Mike is going to join us next. Give him credit. Keeps coming on no matter how mean we are to him. And maybe we'll get into that about the growth of government in this state, because how is it possible? And this is the question I keep asking people about when they say, well, Braun cut the government this time. How is it possible that if Braun cut the government, they couldn't fund the budget without raising taxes by almost $1 billion?
Right, exactly.
And people just stare back at you. Well, Braun said he cut the government. Oh, did he really?
Did he? He said that.
Yes. A politician might lie.
My government would never lie to me.
No way. So I know we got to get to Trump because that stuff's super important. But I figured I had to make some good come from the dream about the State House chasing me down at Market Street trying to eat me.
I had a dream once that you were yelling at me. And then I woke from the dream and realized it was just the dude snoring. Like his snoring went into my dream and it morphed into you.
And JD Prescott, state representative, is going to be with us at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, he is.
And we're going to have it out on this property tax.
We're going to ask him some questions.
Yeah, give him credit. We give credit to all the people who show up because
who aren't afraid.
No, I mean
and they leave in one piece.
That's correct. So all right, so we will get to the Trump stuff because this budget thing and the reconciliation thing is a Casey.
What?
It's 9.
I know.
How was I right? Did
I
right. Yesterday? I literally said yesterday.
I'm telling you, what did I text you over the weekend? It's like we're writing the copy for the politicians.
Yesterday,
everything we say, they repeat 24 hours later.
Yesterday, I came on the show and I said, "This is exactly what the budget's going to do and what it's going to say." And gosh darn it, if it did. All right, Mike is going to join us next.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
The most extraordinary thing a woman can do is let herself be human. We try to do it all, sure, but what if we're just not feeling it? Like when the fatigue hits, but you gotta bring snacks to the soccer game? Or when the laundry's piling up, but that hot flash says, too bad. We get it. Franciscan Health has care for extraordinary women who can do it all, but don't have to. Visit franciscanhealth.org/OBGYN today.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
President Trump on his first long-distance trip. Skies are cloudy at 67 degrees on Monument Circle. Your high today, 76. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 9:30. President Trump visiting the Middle East in the first official trip of his second term as president. He's in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, with a possible $1 trillion deal on the line for Americans.
Today and tomorrow, he'll be here in Saudi Arabia. Then it is on to Doha, where we expect a bunch of announcements. And then the last stop is going to be in Abu Dhabi, Thursday, part of Friday. And we thought that there might be some big political or geopolitical diplomatic announcements with regard to the Ukraine war, with regard to maybe a ceasefire in Gaza with Israel and Hamas. A lot of that stuff is getting buried by just these huge business deals that we expect to be announced today.
Fox's Peter Ducey reporting. And ahead of the president's visit, the Qatari royal family announced it would gift a $400 million jet to the U.S. to be used as Air Force One, raising some accusations of bribery and ethics violations. Meanwhile, the U.S. says it collected around a record $16 billion in customs duties last month, right after the Trump tariffs went into effect. That's $7.6 billion more than in March. Leaders with the Episcopal Church say they won't help resettle white South Africans who have been granted refugee status in the U.S. About 60 of them arrived in the States on a private charter plane. And popular 90s band Alice in Chains is canceling their tour after their drummer Sean Kinney suffered a medical emergency. The band is still expected to perform at Black Sabbath's final concert in July. Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management. The Dow is down 163 points to 42,410. The S&P 500 is up just slightly, 6.5 points, 5,844. As for the NASDAQ, it's up 71 points to 20,868. I'm Jarrett Lewis on The Level on the Go and on WIBC.com.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
800-948-1659. 800-948-1659. 800-948-1659. That's 800-948-1659.
Dear driver, thank you. Thank you for slowing down when you saw the orange cones and road construction signs. My husband is one of those road workers. And today, you saved his life. If you hadn't slowed down, you would have missed that lane change, driven right into the work zone, and you would have killed him. Because you were driving differently. He'll be at our son's Little League game this weekend. He'll be there to walk our daughter down the aisle. He'll be out there tomorrow, making Indiana's roads safer. Thank you.
When driving in a construction zone, be smart, be alert, be in the zone.
This is Brian Short, business manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save lives. We're all in this together.
A message from Indiana's District Council of Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
Hey, will you be filing for Social Security in the next 5 years? The amount of lifetime income you get from Social Security could vary by hundreds of thousands of dollars. And basically, it all boils down to not only your timing, but also coordinating taxes, spousal benefits, IRAs, 401k withdrawals, and much more. Hammer and Nigel here. You got to make sure you get every penny that's rightfully yours with a free Social Security analysis from Bill Demery.
We trust Bill Demery, and you can too. And if you've saved more than $200,000 and have not yet filed for Social Security, schedule that free analysis right now by calling Bill Demery, 317-648-5120. This analysis could help you get hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional lifetime income, and it's free. Schedule it right now, 317-648-5120. 317-648-5120. Bill Demery, your retirement guy.
Masters Heating and Cooling is ready to make sure you are cool and comfortable all summer long. They took great care of my system, and they can help you make sure that everything is ready to go to ensure a nice, comfortable summer and then a very comfortable winter. I've worked with their general manager, David, numerous times, and it has always been a pleasure. And right now, you can get $500 off a new AC system. And if you've worked with Masters before and you've spent more than $500 on AC repairs in the last year, you can apply that amount as a credit towards a new system as well. Masters Heating and Cooling makes it easy. They've got flexible financing options and 24/7 service, so no matter what your issue, Masters Heating and Cooling is right there to take care of you and your family. Give Masters Heating and Cooling a call. 317-567-9505. Tell them Tony Katz sent you. 317-567-9505. Or request service online at mastersindy.com. mastersindy.com.
Don Fisher here for QC Kinetics.
I want to share with you the best thing I've done for my knee pain. I've been hearing commercials about the groundbreaking treatments that QC Kinetics offers for months. Meantime, my chronic knee pain had hit an all-time high threshold. I wanted to stay active and enjoy playing golf again without the pain. So I decided to call and book an appointment. And what I found out was that QC Kinetics is the non-surgical solution. I have no knee pain and feel like I did 10 years ago. And it's all because of the non-invasive therapy from QC Kinetics.
Discover the solution to joint pain with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. For a free consultation, call 463-282-6886.
I'm back to playing golf and enjoying life. Take it from me, this is the best call you can make to relieve your orthopedic pain.
For your free consultation, call QC Kinetics today. 463-282-6886. 463-282-6886.
Race into Pierce Jewelers in Carmel and make a pit stop to purchase that unique diamond engagement ring that will put you in the winner's circle. Remember, shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
Casey, the taxes are high and the government is big.
Yeah? Is that new? No, that's not new.
Welcome to Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, we could recap the 2025 General Assembly where the taxes got high and the government got bigger.
You know what? Do you want to check in with the lieutenant governor and see if he agrees with that statement?
Sure, Beckwith. So we're our audience is pretty outraged about this article that came out in the Northwest Indiana Times that said the governor, within really just, a week or two of getting the authority to stick it to everyone with the tolling, said, I'm headed to the federal government for the tolling. What say you?
Yeah, well, I talked to the governor, and I told him, hey, I'm not for this. We can't be doing this, and it's an increased tax on Hoosiers. And, you know, his pushback was it's a user fee. And I get that argument, but at the end of the day, it's a financial burden that we're putting on Hoosiers that they don't need right now. And the interstate system was built to be a freeway system. I mean, Eisenhower, when he put it into effect, he basically said we're going to use tax dollars so our grandparents and parents paid for the interstate system, and he said it's going to be a freeway. And the idea was to pay for these freeways so they would be free and not a toll road. And so we want to make them free. Now, I get the fact that I-70 is breaking down, and we've got commercial vehicles that are using them, and they're destroying the roads. But we can find a creative way to make the commercial vehicles, pay for the breakdown of the road. But let's not put this burden on Hoosiers, and that's where I stand on it. I'm very much, I can't be for this because it's just another financial burden. And to your point earlier, Indiana Republicans have consistently for the last 15 years have increased taxes and built government, and we got to stop that. And that's where I stand on it.
Okay, so we are very concerned about Braun, and we have a task for you, Beckwith, if you're up for it.
Okay.
We are very concerned, given the very frail, feeble appearance Braun has had at several public appearances, most recently the big Politburo speech that he gave where whoever stopped clapping first lost their hands from the administration. We are very concerned Braun could be a victim of elder abuse, and that's why he's raising all the taxes and growing the government. Would you be willing to look into if Braun is, in fact, doing this out of force because he's a victim of elder abuse?
Well, listen, what I saw with Joe Biden over the last 4 years, I'm going to tell you right now, Mike Braun is far more competent than that. And that, I get that's a low bar, but I think that, listen, Mike, what I've seen is he's genuine. I think he's a down-to-earth guy. I know you said he lied to us. I don't agree with you on that, Rob. I don't think he did. I think the General Assembly is the one that screwed us over with SB1 and gave us a really complicated, convoluted bill. And maybe it'll turn out good for some areas of the state. Maybe it won't. But I think the governor is like-minded. And I know you might disagree with that, but I think he's like-minded with you, with me. He's just trying to figure out strategically what's the best way to move this ball down the field. And so I think I really do believe he's a good governor. I think time will tell, but you got to give him a chance. It's been 4 months. You got to give him a chance. Don't shoot him before he has a chance to do some good stuff.
So last week, Mishler came out, and he was at an event, and he was saying that he wanted to get rid of property taxes altogether, this coming from the same guy who was the head chief crafter of the state budget. Why the change of tune from him?
Well, it's not a change of tune. He was saying this back in 2023, I think, the video that was out, I think, was a year and a half ago. And again, we have the 5th most complicated property tax system in the country. So it's not going to you're not going to fix it overnight. It's going to take a couple years to get this under control. And my goal, and I told you guys this, is to eliminate property taxes. I think it's immoral. It's not your property if you have to pay the government rent to stay there. But we all know we've created a system where 80% of the county revenues is coming from property taxes. So there has to be a way that we can still fund local government. And I know there's a lot of good solutions out there. JD Prescott has a 7-year repeal and replace plan that I thought was great from the get-go. And I'm going to be pushing stuff like that going forward. And I think we're getting there. This is not something that the battle's over. So SB1 wasn't a great bill. I get it. But we're coming back. We're not stopping the fight.
I think it's really interesting, Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith, that you say that Mishler put that video out a year and a half ago. Here's a guy who had a chance to make an impact on property taxes and instead was one of the architects of taxing people more. But my question for you, Indiana Politics recently put out this poll, and it said that Braun's disapproval rating is quite high. I believe in the upper 70s. What was it, Rob? 80%?
70%. We don't want to. I mean, this man could be a victim
already bad enough.
It could be a victim of elder abuse. We don't want to make his day any worse. Yes, 70%.
70% disapprove of the job that he's done. And what was the disapproval rating of the legislature? That was pretty high as well.
They were over 80%.
Over
yes.
80%. I'm curious, is the governor aware of this? Does his staff let him know?
Wait. Is this Abdul's poll?
Yes, the one from Indy Politics.
Which your people pushed out and told people to participate in.
I guess I'm asking because, the governor cannot even post anything on Twitter without,
It's Abdul's poll. I was going to say Abdul has a history of, and listen, I like Abdul. We're friends. But he has a history of not getting polls very accurate. I mean, he said that the governor's race in the general election was within a margin of error, and we ended up winning by 15 points. So I just, take it with a grain of salt. I do think this, though. I will say this. I think there is there's very much a frustration with the base, and I see that all over the state. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't get better and we shouldn't look to do a better job. The GOP for the last 15 years has not done a good job. That's why I'm lieutenant governor. If I would never have been able to do what I did had people been happy with how the GOP has been operating. We can be a better state. There's a reason people talk about Texas and Florida and Tennessee and Oklahoma, and they never loop Indiana into that national conversation because we have a very mediocre GOP leadership at best. And we got to get some courage in our backbone before we actually start getting things done. And I just think it's going to take time, and I get it. It's been 4 months, 5 months. We're moving in the right direction. It's just not going to happen overnight because this is a system that's been built over 50 years in Indiana that is not going to be easily changed. And
I think
what I'm asking – go ahead.
I think one of the reasons people always say Florida and Tennessee and Texas, lack of income tax, and then you've got Ron DeSantis talking about eliminating property taxes, and his relief for homeowners was $1,000.
Yeah. But remember, too, Florida's got a massive tourism industry that we don't have. They can replace the revenue that they're going to lose with property taxes. It's not apples to apples here. And so we've got to recognize we cannot just pull the rug out from local governments. As much as I would love to see property taxes go away tomorrow, it's going to take time to figure out how do we repeal and replace. And, again, I look at guys like JD Prescott. That's a great bill. He laid it out. He's going to bring it back, I think, next year. And so we got to just make sure we're calling our reps, calling our senators, and say, give us that property tax replacement and repeal. And here's the deal. What happened this session, I heard from a lot of reps and senators, hey, I'm not hearing about property taxes, outside the Kendall and Casey listening area. It wasn't as big of a deal. I will tell you this, though. Now, after the assessments came in for 2025, a lot of these reps and senators are starting to hear from locals. They're going to come back next session with a butt kicking, and they're going to, I think, come back to this apple for another bite. And that's encouraging to me because they are saying, oh, wow, I'm hearing about it now. Yeah, should they have heard about it back in January? They should have, but they just didn't. And so now I think we're going to have a good chance of really doing this.
Wait. So Braun did lie then? Because Braun said over and over and over and over and over and over and over again that he heard about it everywhere he went, including the speech he gave at our rally where he said some guy who worked for him. So they're lying somewhere, Micah. This is why people are pissed. Somebody's lying somewhere because either you heard about it or you didn't. And as soon as Braun signed on to this deal with Thompson, which had the vetting and the transparency of the Soviet Union, he comes out and goes, I didn't hear about it from everyone everywhere, and it's your fault. You didn't go to the school board meetings. He told people over and over and over again he heard about it everywhere. It can't be both things, can it?
No. So I didn't say Braun or I. We both heard about it all over the state. I heard about it. Braun heard about it. We were traveling the state. What I said was the legislators were saying they weren't hearing about it. I think that's a little disingenuous. I think they probably were hearing about it to some extent. I'm just telling you right now, they're hearing about it a lot more now after those assessments came in. So
these assessments, the past 4 years when they've been skyrocketing, they haven't been hearing anything?
That's what the legislators were saying. And I'm just telling you.
And Bundy says he didn't kill those women, Micah. Do you believe that too?
No, I'm not saying I believe them. I'm saying that's what they were saying. But now they can't come back next year and say, we're going to keep using that argument anymore, because we know for a fact that it's getting hotter and it's getting more intense for people who hate property taxes. They're coming out, and I appreciate that. They need to come out. They need to speak up. Your guys' voice is necessary. We got to keep putting the pressure on. It's just you're not going to fix it in 4 months. It's the fifth most complicated property tax system
they
in the
put a
country.
bill out in 2022 that they told us was going to fix it because Thompson admitted then they were hearing about it from everyone. This is why I am the way I am. They've already admitted 3 years ago when they didn't try to fix it, where they put a bullcrap bill out that didn't change anything. We told them then it wasn't going to fix anything. They did it again this time. You can't say they haven't been hearing about it. They admitted in 22 they were hearing about it.
They were saying they haven't heard about it. I get it. I don't believe it, just like you. I'm just saying this is what this was the talking point they were using inside of 200 West Washington this session. I'm just saying we need to keep the pressure on, because they can't keep using that tired argument anymore. And so they're not going to have anywhere to run next session other than repeal and replace. And that's a good thing.
Micah, what do you have coming up today?
I don't know. I was just getting ready for this interview. I don't know what's after this. I just got to make sure.
Rob's making gestures. You can't see Rob, but his hands are on his face right now.
Rob,
he's holding his head.
As your friend, Robert Kendall, as your friend and your pastor, take a breath. The Lord tells us to not worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow will take care of itself.
Everything's going very well at the State House. The taxes are very low. The government is limited, and it will all be fine, Micah. It'll all be okay.
Don't lie to your audience, Rob. Come on. What are you doing?
It's all fine.
Hey, what I have coming up today, we have the Sweet and Snack Expo going on at the Convention Center. You guys should come on over. It's going to be it's going to be good. I'm going to be heading over there right after this phone call. And we're going to be taking a look at all the different vendors that are selling sweets and snacks around the state and around the country. So it's a very sweet thing.
We appreciate your time today. Thank you, Micah.
All right. Thanks, guys. Keep up the good work.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show 3:06 this afternoon. Brace yourselves. Nigel is out today. Jeff Boggs is going to fill in. We got Carb Day tickets to give away. Let's have a show.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
In 6/22/25, new customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
Many nonprofits struggle with staffing issues, but through the Senior Community Service Employment Program, or CSEP, 501(c)(3)s with limited budgets can get cost-free supplemental employees while helping train people 55 and over for a new career. Trainees are motivated, reliable employees, and their wages are completely covered by the Indiana Department of Workforce Development. To learn more, go to backtowork.dwd.in.gov. That's backtowork.dwd.in.gov.
Addiction doesn't just affect one person, it touches everyone around them. That's why Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick created the Supporting Sobriety podcast. It's for the friends and family standing behind, offering hope, guidance, and real talk. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts.
'Cause I'm the tax man. Yeah, I'm the tax man.
Why are they doing this?
I don't know. Money? Why does anybody do anything? Some sort of motivation.
You showed me this article, and there's no way. And then it is totally just, given the makeup of the media companies in this country now, I guess, they're just fresh out of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So they're bringing some sort of, by the way, it's Kendall Casey show. I'm Rob. That's Casey. They're bringing some sort of spin-off of The Office.
Mm-hmm.
What it's got to be 12 years or so since The Office has been off the air.
Right.
They're not even bringing The Office back, like Frasier,
Mm-hmm.
and all these other shows have done reboots. It's not a reboot. It's a spin-off.
It's an extension, right,
of The Office.
Mm-hmm. It's called The Paper.
Oh, geez.
It's going to be on Peacock, and they say it's a new mockumentary comedy series set in the same universe as NBC's The Office.
Oh,
it's going to premiere in September, but here's what it is. So the Office documentary crew, they're moving from Scranton to Toledo, and they're covering the struggling local newspaper, The Truth Teller. And its publisher, who's trying to revive the newspaper.
Can't we just, as the collective fans of The Office, well, I mean, it's probably be like it went with Braun with the property tax. Greg Daniels might roll up his sleeves after he hears from us and go, I'm with you, no more Office spinoff, and then just do the thing, right? I mean, this sounds like a horrible idea. Because there's only one or two of the Office characters. The Oscar guy is on it.
Oscar's going to be back. Yep.
And then, I mean, this is Dumpster Fire Train Wreck written.
It's going to be produced by Greg
over it.
Daniels, the same guy who did The Office.
Yeah, great. Why?
So, it's the documentary crew. I'll be curious to see if any of them will end up on camera.
Well, and then this is clearly given the, does it say where it's airing? Is it NBC? Is NBC going to run it?
Peacock.
Yeah. So clearly they're just fresh out of ideas. And they're just like, well, people loved The Office. Maybe they'll buy this for a few episodes.
Let's try this.
Can you think of any of the reboots or spinoffs? Now, Frasier was a spinoff immediately after Cheers, but Frasier was a central character to Cheers.
Right.
What other spinoffs, certainly one 12 years later, where there's only a bit player that's on the new show, would that go well?
Laverne and Shirley? We got to go back a ways, right?
This is my point.
This show is, it's called Underdog Characters Banding Together to Keep Journalism Alive.
Oh, right, sure. So it's going to be the same. There'll be some tall, lanky guy looking at the camera smiling after everything he says, whether it's funny or not.
Right.
There'll be some wacky, antisocial nerd guy with glasses.
Well, you got to wonder, is the publisher of this Truth Teller newspaper, is he going to be like the Michael Scott character?
I don't know. I don't care. I'm not watching this. I'm out.
You're out.
I'm out.
Tapping out of this one.
What I'm in for, though, Casey.
Yeah.
State Representative JD Prescott is going to join us next to talk about property taxes.
Okay.
That should be fun.
Yeah, it should be fun. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Turning 65, new to Medicare, or just moved? If you qualify for Medicare and Medicaid, a Humana Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan, a DSNP, may give you the extra benefits you're looking for. A D-SNP helps cover things like prescriptions and checkups, but it also helps pay for essentials too. With a Humana D-SNP, you get $225 a month for eligible groceries, rent, utilities, and more. Plus, whatever you don't spend carries over to the next month. You may even get benefits like $0 copays on routine prescriptions, plus routine dental, vision, or hearing coverage. All of this could make a difference for your health and wallet. Learn more at GetHumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a coordinated care HMO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the Indiana Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal. Allowance amounts cannot be combined with other benefit allowances. Limitations and restrictions may apply.
Pat Sullivan here with exciting news from my friends at Hope Plumbing, now known as Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Hope now offers plumbing, heating, and air conditioning services, bringing total comfort to your home. No more dealing with multiple home service memberships. For only $8 a month, Hope is now your one-stop for safety and maintenance inspections and so much more. Make sure you're prepared for those Indiana summer heat waves with an AC tune-up by calling Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling today at 641-HOPE.
Millions of illegal aliens crossed our southern border under Biden administration policies. But now, things are changing. This is your Congressman, Jefferson Shreve. I'm committed to securing our borders and to protecting our Hoosier communities. I'm delivering for you. Because of Republican leadership, illegal border crossings are at an all-time low. I'm leading the charge to complete the southern border wall and deport illegal aliens. I'm fighting for Indiana and working for you in Congress.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. Service today. Today.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number Everything Smart Bed sale. Every smart bed and base are on sale during our Memorial Day event. Up to 50% off, plus free home delivery. Limited time. Exclusively to Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
You know exactly why you need to remodel that kitchen of yours. The space, it's outdated. You can't move around like you used to. It doesn't work like it needs to. You want to entertain and you want to improve your quality of life. This can happen, just not with the kitchen you have. You need to call Booher Remodeling, B-O-O-H-E-R, BooherRemodeling.com. They can take that old kitchen that's deteriorating and broken down and turn it into something that works for you and your family. Their 5-step design process from start to finish, the consultation, the preliminary design, the design development, getting all the documents together, and then getting it done. The best materials, the most skilled craftsmen in Central Indiana. Booher Remodeling will guide you through the entire process, starting with the free initial consultation, and they stand behind their work with a 2-year workmanship guarantee. Create that new kitchen. Design experts can use an existing layout or begin completely from scratch. Talk to Booher Remodeling today. B-O-O-H-E-R. BooherRemodeling.com. That's BooherRemodeling.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recyclers Studios, looking at which days we might see severe weather across the state of Indiana. What happened in the final clemency hearing for convicted cop killer Benjamin Ritchie. Why an off-duty officer had to subdue a Greenfield canine in Hancock County on Monday. And a little Racers and Pacers action for today. Action at IMS as well as in Cleveland, with Indiana a chance to clinch a spot in the Eastern Conference Finals. You're listening to 93 WIBC. Time for Fox News. It's 10 o'clock.
A new agreement between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Trump just signed it a short time ago with the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman.
I like visiting with you, and we've known each other very well, and I really believe we like each other a lot.
Fox's Peter Ducey's in Riyadh, where the president will soon attend a Saudi investment forum.
The next big thing is going to be President Trump's announcement with the Crown Prince about what exactly they just signed. We know that they came here looking for $600 billion plus. We don't know exactly how that is going to break down. But we know that there's a lot more to the U.S. and Saudi relationship than just oil sales or security guarantees. But those things are still at the foundation of the relationship.
The president will also visit and push for more investments from the United Arab Emirates and Qatar. President Trump is also expected at some point on this trip to talk to Adon Alexander, the Israeli soldier Hamas kidnapped in the 2023 terror attack, who's also the last living American hostage released by Hamas yesterday in an attempt to get another ceasefire with Israel.
But 19 months in captivity in Gaza means he's weak and still needs hospital treatment. Alexander was raised in New Jersey but was serving in the Israeli military when he was kidnapped. He'll stay in Israel for now and talk later on the phone to President Donald Trump. A face-to-face meeting at the White House has been slotted in for later this month.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. Kim Kardashian's on the witness stand in court in Paris, testifying today against the men accused of robbing her at gunpoint in a jewelry heist in 2016. Kardashian testified she thought they'd kill her. We got an inflation update this morning.
In the monthly reading for the Consumer Price Index, which measures the cost for a broad range of goods and services for April, it rose 0.2% from the month before.
Fox's Lillian Wu.
Year over year, price growth was 2.3%.
That's down slightly from March, the lowest annual inflation rate since February 2021. America's listening to Fox News.
UIBC Mobile News, on the level, on the go.
Assessing severe weather chances this week. Mostly cloudy, 67 in downtown Indianapolis. The high today, 76. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 10:02. The weather in Indiana could get nasty on Thursday. John Herrick reports.
All severe weather threats are in play for that day, says Alex McGinnis with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis.
We'll have to wait until it gets a little closer in time to see how the forcing is going to come together with the heat, because it's going to be close to 90 degrees on Thursday. Heat and humidity before we can really assess timing and location for all those hazards.
He says before then, though, you can expect scattered rainfall to fall throughout the state. John Herrick, 93, WIBC Mobile News.
The family of fallen Beech Grove police officer Bill Toney is seeking justice in the full execution of Benjamin Ritchie's death sentence. Ritchie's final clemency hearing happened Monday. Toney's widow, Dee Dee Toney Horan, told the Indiana Parole Board at the Indiana Government Center they want this chapter in their lives to finally end.
It's time. I'm tired. We're all tired.
Ritchie's attorneys claim he has a disability stemming from fetal alcohol syndrome that played a role in him shooting and killing Toney in 2000. Police in Greenfield say an off-duty officer had to subdue a canine because it bit him, leading to the dog's death. GPD says canine Ace escaped from his New Palestine residence Monday night and ran to the neighbor's house where the off-duty officer was. His handler also wasn't home at the time. Officers say Ace bit the officer, leading him to have to subdue the dog. The injured officer was sent to an Indianapolis hospital for treatment. The incident is now under investigation. The Indiana Pacers are back on the court tonight, trying to finish off the Cavaliers in Cleveland. Tip-off of Game 5 is set for 7 o'clock. And IndyCar teams are hitting the IMS Oval for the first practice session in preparation of the Indianapolis 500. That'll be from noon to 6 today through Friday, and qualifying is on Saturday. And just announced this morning, the Colts will be hosting the hosting team for their matchup with the Atlanta Falcons in Berlin, Germany. That game's scheduled for November 9th. It's one of 7 international games in the National Football League coming up this season. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Kendall and Casey back in 1 minute.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros, and a sincere thank you to our loyal customers for helping us to another record year. We recently saved a 62-year-old retiring couple over $800 monthly when compared to their COBRA offerings. We recently saved a family of 4 over $400 monthly when compared to their $7,500 deductible program on the ACA, and you know that's still Obamacare. We recently saved a small 4-man manufacturing company over $1,000 monthly and gave them better coverage. We feature coverages guaranteed to age 65, low out-of-pocket expenses, the largest networks in the country, and you can sign up anytime. If you are retiring early, self-employed, or need coverage for your small group, call us at 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. If you don't call us, we can't help you. What do you got to lose? Call us 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. As always, God bless America, common sense government, and peace too strict.
This hour on WIBC is powered by Pierce Jewelers, designers of fine custom jewelry.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Casey, you may have heard some people are unhappy with the governor and the General Assembly.
I have heard a thing or two about that, Rob, yeah.
And while there are several things they're displeased with, front and center, as you may have seen on the governor's social media platforms, the comments, property tax.
Yeah, that seems to be number one still.
And it's something that I don't think is going away. I think, as Micah alluded to earlier in the show, the assessments are showing up. And as we said, every year this is going to be front and center until it's resolved because people are going to see it every single year.
Yeah.
But one guy who's not too disappointed about how the legislative session went and is here, let's give him credit. He's here to defend his vote on Senate Bill 1, Indiana State Representative JD Prescott. JD, how's it going, man?
Doing well. How you doing this morning?
Now, we got to give you a lot of credit because a bunch of your colleagues have turned and they've run, and you said, hey, brother, I'm here. You sign me up. I'll answer whatever you want to ask.
Well, I told you, I don't know if I told you this on the air or if it was off air, but I told you last summer that, I will always come on and defend any vote that I cast, and that's what I'm here to do today.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about where sort of our audience is at. Obviously, I'm sure they're really upset, and if you saw the Indy Politics poll, it's much more than our audience. Taxpayers feel like they got bamboozled. They feel like they invested in the governor. They feel like he turned and ran on them at the end, especially as it relates to property taxes. Do they have a gripe?
Well, I would say when you look at that Indy Politics poll, first off, there's some promising things that came out of that too. The majority of people polled do support eliminating property taxes and replacing it with sales tax. So I thought that was encouraging on that. And then, but when you look at the overall job of the General Assembly this session and the governor, the governor came in with a bold plan with Senate Bill 1. That changed throughout the process. Would I have liked more? Absolutely. I mean, I want to completely eliminate property taxes, as you know. But at the end of the day, we come out with a bill that 2/3 of homeowners are going to get a lower property tax bills in 26 than what they are paying in 25. So I take that as a win.
Okay, so we all know the income tax are going up, right?
Well, not necessarily. It depends on where you live.
Well, but come on, JD. So like in Franklin, we've already talked about how Franklin and New Whiteland, they don't even know what the law says, and they're raising these wheel taxes. Most of these cities, these towns, I've already said we're coming for this income tax. It's going to go up, and I think this is where people are getting frustrated that they feel like the obvious is not being expressed here, that the majority of counties in this state, the income tax is going to go up. If you guys didn't want that to happen, if this was truly about a property tax bill, property tax cut, why didn't you just eliminate the ability for that to happen?
I'd have been game with that, but if you look at the local option income tax, without Senate Bill 1, the cap was 3.75%. So even as Senate Bill 1 was introduced, local units of government would have had the ability to increase up to 3.75%. But what we did is we capped it at 2.9%.
Yeah, come on, JD, but you're too smart for this game here. These local units of government were not using it because they were getting it from property taxes, which are capped. So if, say, for example, you're make $100,000 a year, and your property, you live in you're getting the $300 property tax reduction, which is ridiculous. That's all we got, but it is what it is. If I'm getting a 1% income tax increase that previously wasn't happening, I'm going to pay $1,000 here to get $300 over here. Previously, they weren't taking the $1,000 from me. I'm $700 in the hole. You're a smart guy. You see this.
I get what you're saying, but look at communities like I represent where they're over 2.9% now. They have to cut their income tax too.
So when people's income tax go up, because we've heard these specific examples here in central Indiana that it's going to happen. Do they just look at you and go, well, hey, JD's guys got a break, so screw you. Sorry you had to pay more.
No, you hold your local officials accountable that are raising them.
How?
By voting them out if they need to.
But this is the point, JD. People engaged. 1,000 people showed up at the State House. You were there. You saw them, right?
I agree.
And it didn't make any difference. You know how hard it is to keep people engaged. You know how hard. So now you're going to have to fight the school board. You're going to have to fight the city council. You're going to have to fight the county council. Where before, you didn't really have to do any of that. I feel like you are too smart to not think this bill is going to do some damage to people's pocketbooks.
Overall, this is still a decrease. And there's more work to do over the next few years. and on multiple things. One, on the assessment sides, we got to get that system under control if you're going to keep the property tax system in place. But if we're not going to, but obviously I'm still pushing the repeal and replacement plan.
Okay, you just mentioned more work to do. Why wasn't that work done already? Like, what? People are so frustrated because, we knew this was an issue for over 6 months before Senate bill was even brought up. Why wasn't the work about the assessments and everything done before?
I think there was obviously that was the attempt by many in the General Assembly, but not enough. I mean, it takes 51-26 to get any bill passed, and if you look at the vote in the Senate, they only passed Senate Bill 1 out with 27 votes. So, I mean, we really pushed it as far as we could on the House side to still get the votes in the Senate to get it over the finish line.
So Ryan Mishler had the audacity to come out and give a speech where I'd like to get out of property taxes. He voted to gut Senate Bill 1. People look at it as guys like that are now rubbing it in our face. You had an opportunity. You voted to gut Senate Bill 1. If you'd have voted, let's keep it intact, let's move it forward. Okay, it's insulting to people, though, after you've just done this thing, to come back and go, boy, wouldn't it be great if we got out of property taxes?
Well, I hear where you're coming from, but, I said from the beginning, and I'm not sure what Ryan Mishler's comments where I didn't see that, but I know I've had conversation with him in the past. And I think he truly does want to get out of property taxes in the long run, but it will be a multi-year process to get there. You got to sell the public, you got to sell the General Assembly, and it's a process to do so.
So JD Prescott is our guest, by the way, state representative. Why do your colleagues not want to help homeowners? Like, why are they so against this? I mean, this bill, the giveaway is to the businesses. I mean, right? I mean, we can agree that the businesses were the big winner in the property tax bill. They're getting, now you guys delayed it for a year, but if that goes through, the business personal property tax going to give some of these companies $60,000.
I think if you look at our colleagues, we want to help all Hoosiers across state, and we did help homeowners. 2/3 of homeowners, again, will see lower property tax bills in 26 and 25 with this bill. And on the business personal property taxes, especially those small businesses with less than $2 million of business personal property, or BPP, they are getting a benefit. We do want to help small businesses across the state and stimulate economic growth. So
I'm getting $300. This business is getting $60,000. Businesses, all these businesses, most of them are probably getting abatements anyway on top of that, or many of them. That's fair?
Yeah, but who pays that property, or who pays that tax? The consumer does in their goods, and their purchase of their goods. They just pass it on to the consumers.
So your theory is what? Lily's going to cut drug prices if you guys give them a business personal property tax?
They have more than $2 million in
Yeah,
BPP,
but you get what I'm saying, right? I mean, that's you guys have been cutting business tax year after year after year after year after year. And let's talk about process. So there's a Senate Bill 1. It's presented. Mm-hmm. It goes, it's gutted, fine, whatever. It comes back to you guys, and then the head of Ways and Means goes, that was a nice floor show you guys had over there. I'm going to introduce this bill that no one has seen, no one's heard about, at least the publicly, and that's what we're going to work off of. It's whose line is it anyway, where the game's made up and the rules don't matter? If he was going to do that, why wasn't he waving his Thompson? Why wasn't he waving his hands going, hey, no, this is where we need to be? Like, why didn't he have hearings on it over in the House? It's you get why people are saying we were hoodwinked, right? We were bamboozled, where this guy goes, it doesn't even matter what happened over there. I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
Well, that's kind of the way the legislative process works, right? We amend bills in committee and we change things. And I get he went above and beyond. He had a second committee hearing on testimony.
But he presented a bill that nobody heard. It didn't make it out of any sort of committee. He just said, here's what I'm doing now.
Well, and it ended up in an amendment in the end, too. So, I mean, he did give opportunity for testimony on that amendment. We went through and had discussion. Now, it could be debatable on how you want. And those are questions that you can feel free to send over to Chairman Thompson. But we went through the process.
We've sent the thousands of emails, JD. Your colleagues, now I'm not saying you have, you engaged, but your colleagues ignore our listeners. They don't respond. Then when they do, it's some carefully crafted email. Oh, and then it usually involves them saying, don't listen to Rob Kendall. This is why people are sick of the crap, JD. You can't talk to these people. You can't communicate with them. And when you try to, it seems like once again, the special interest won out, that we, the people who engaged in this process, were left holding the bag. And why would anybody trust, after what they've been through, it's going to be, we got all these great plans for local government reform. I asked the governor directly what they were, and he couldn't name one. So is he just going to make them up?
Well, when you look at Senate Bill 1 and the changes that's being made, we are reducing the spending over the next few years for local units of government. I think there's going to be more changes that come over the next couple of years as well. And this is, we did not create this property tax mess in a 1-year period. It's going to take longer than 1 year to get out of it or fix the system if we're going to stay in the property tax system. Again, I want to get out of it, but others want to stay in the property tax system. So either way, we need to look at what is in the best interest of taxpayers long term, make sure it's a transparent process, and try and simplify the system.
All right, let's take a quick break. Indiana State Representative JD Prescott is our guest. We'll continue the conversation when we come back. It's Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
When you wake up,
You understand this is about money. 1,000%. They started this.
when you work,
As long as the category was all Bruce Springsteen all the time.
I told you I think I could win a game of Jeopardy. I could not go on a run.
when you drive home,
Is it time to try something new, you think? Because it hasn't worked, and maybe try something new.
traffic when you need it,
Stopped on 465 again.
and updates all the time.
I'm Ryan Hedrick on the level, on the go.
Stay in the know wherever you go with 93 WIBC.
Hey guys, it's Rob. If you're looking for a new church home or a first church home or just maybe being called to something different, check out Life Church. Life Church would love the opportunity this spring to meet and welcome you and your family. They're warm, they're welcoming. You got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Life Church makes it so easy for you. Campuses across central Indiana, Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton. They've got awesome online services. We love watching those. Check them all out on the web, lifechurchin.com.
Your nose is for breathing. Your mouth is for eating. And if you're breathing through your mouth, it's not because your body wants to. It's because it has to, because your nose isn't working properly. And although you've lived like this, it's no way to live, and it's having a significant impact on your life. I know you know this, and I know that taking action isn't always convenient. But at Advent, we've done all we can to make changing your life for the better as easy as possible. I'm Dr. Mother Kandula. With tens of thousands of our patients, a thorough breathing triangle evaluation, along with a simple 20-minute in-office procedure called balloon sinuplasty, has opened their nasal passages, allowing them to breathe freely through their nose for good. And there's a good chance this procedure can do the same for you. We'll help you breathe through your nose again, and it will change your life.
Go to AdventKnows.com to schedule your appointment because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
It's now open. PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse in Brownsburg, right in front of Premier Arms on Green Street. You got to see the selection. Newly expanded, the gold, the diamonds, the silver, the gemstones, the local artists, and of course, that watch collection. Guys, you got to trust me on this one right here. PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse in Brownsburg, 317-456-4010. That's 456-4010. Or find them online at pajewelers.jewelry. That's pajewelers.jewelry.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
This week at Sullivan Hardware and Garden, see their large selection of grills, Weber, Traeger, and Napoleon, along with the Big Green Egg.
It's the home of the brave and the land of the free, where the less you know, the better off you'll be.
93 WIBC, it is the Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob. Casey's here, continuing our conversation now with Indiana State Representative JD Prescott. We're talking about a host of issues, but primarily conversation centering around property taxes.
Regarding the amendment that Thompson introduced, how many pages was that? 350?
As 360, 350 something, somewhere in that range.
Did you read it?
I did.
Every page?
Every page.
Every page.
So your colleague, Carrie Hamilton, said she thinks maybe 10% of the House read that bill before voting on it. Is she right?
I cannot speak to what other people did, but
that's important. It is important,
It is
JD,
important.
right? I mean, just estimate, right? I mean, you know these guys. Come on. And I do believe you read the bill, by the way. I believe you did read it and understand it. I think you're the only one on that committee that did. But we have people voting, and it comes back to things getting changed on the fly. There's no way you guys processed. I'm not saying you, but I'm saying there's no way with these instant changes, and then there's a vote, and the governor's clearly cutting a deal the day of because he's telling me about it an hour before it's presented and voted on. There's no way people are processing things. There's no way they're studying and understanding it. There's no way they're aware of the impact it's having. And then they admitted it by going, well, we might have screwed up in this business personal property tax thing, so at 2 a.m. we're going to delay that for a year. You see why people are like, well, you guys are just making this up?
You're referring to the DLGF bill and the changes made there?
What's that?
You're referring to the changes made in the DLGF bill on this?
I'm saying when they reopened Senate Bill 1.
And the DLGF bill,
right,
which I voted no to.
Well, right. I'm not, but I'm saying it passed, right?
It did pass.
Nobody's reading anything, right? I mean, there's no way your colleagues are processing this, and people are like, this is our government.
I want to ask you a question that a lot of people are probably waiting for, because it seemed at the last minute, without any testimony, the Union School Corporation closure happened. And a lot of people are questioning, is that why you signed off on Senate Bill 1? Because that was your pet project.
That is not why I signed off on Senate Bill 1. I was planning on voting for Senate Bill 1 without that language in. But the Union School Corporation, if you look at that school, they're down to 228 students in person, over 8,000 online. They have got the worst test scores in the state across the board. It's doing a disservice to the students of that community to continue to keep that school open. Over 60% of the kids that live in that district go to school outside of that school district's territory. So the parents have already spoken en masse. So that's yes, it was included in this bill, but...
Okay, why was it included? I mean, we're already talking about, and you said it yourself, a 350-some plus, page bill. Why would that get tucked into something like that?
It was germane to the bill, that discussion, and it came up. Union schools came and testified in the budget, too, so it wasn't like we hadn't talked about union schools and their test scores in the Ways and Means Committee. They came in and testified on the budget, asking for more money towards their virtual school as well. So we did have some discussion in committee ahead of time on the process, though, and where it's at. Unfortunately, I can't comment too much more on that part of it because of pending litigation.
Well, but I mean, you guys know what you're doing, right? I mean, you guys know it. See, this is where people again say, what did you think was going to happen when you did it? They're going to get mad and file a lawsuit. And again, whether it's the IU trustees thing happening at midnight, whether it's this thing, let the bill stand on its own. You may very well be right that school corporation needed to go. But when you're throwing all of these things into a property tax bill, people say...
Seems to muddy the waters.
I see where you're coming from, but the legal process was filed, and again, just due to the pending litigation, that's really all I can say. Yeah. I wish I could say more. I really do.
So if you were to deliver a mess... So is it fair to say that you're pretty proud of Senate Bill 1? Like you think it's a good thing?
I am... I think it was the right vote to support it because it lowers property taxes for 2/3 of homeowners. It does give a little bit of relief to ag. I wish it did more on the ag side. It does reduce the lit capacity by $1.9 billion by reducing it from the cap at 3.75 to 2.9% for the total lit capacity cap. So I think it is better than previous law, but there's still more work to do, and I want to do more on the property tax front.
So in the next 2 years, if my local income tax goes up, can I give that bill to you and say, JD said this bill's great?
I think you should vote those people out if they raise your taxes locally.
Oh, okay. So they're not up for re-election, but I should vote them out.
Well, when they're up.
Oh, okay. So I should just get screwed for a couple of years. But in the meantime, can I give that bill to you? I mean, like you're laughing about it. This is why people are pissed off, JD. People are pissed off because they know... Look, Franklin didn't even wait to get clarification on the bill, right? That's the wheel tax and a whole separate thing. People feel screwed. Like, why should people, based on what they were promised from the governor, why should they engage in what the final bill that was produced? Why should they engage going forward? People say we took off work, we spent time to park, we paid, we did all this stuff, and the governor lied to us. So what?
So if we wouldn't have touched lit, if we would have just taken that provision out of the bill, you would have been capped at 3.75, and they still would have been coming and asking to increase their lit. So would you have rather us not done anything and not capped it at 2.9, and you'd rather it go up to 3.75?
My taxes are going to go up because of that bill. I would have rather you done nothing. And you know this because we called on the governor to veto the bill and force you guys to do actual meaningful property tax reform. you're one of the smarter guys on that committee. I believe you have some genuinely stupid people that you serve with who had no idea what they voted on. I think you know, which is why I'm pissed off at you. You get full credit for coming in, though, because you got the stones to look me right in the eye and answer the questions, unlike your colleagues. But you know these local governments they said it right to your face. The one guy lied and threatened to turn the lights off in his school district. That's the sort of scumbags we're dealing with. You think they're just going to take a revenue decrease laying down? No, they're going to find every resource possible. And you and Braun looking at me going, hey, Rob, you should fight the Brownsburg Town Council, and you should fight the Hendricks County Council, and you should fight the Brownsburg School Board. So my whole life now, because your people got a little bit of help, now should just be fighting every agent of local government all day, every day. That's my life now.
Well, and on the LIP piece, it does not go into effect for a couple of years here. So maybe we can tighten that up a little further over the future. But
why didn't you guys do that instead of again, when Jeter comes out in Capitol Chronicle and says, well, we were worried about how the business personal property tax exemption was going to hurt local governments, so we stood up for them. Why didn't somebody stand up for us? It just always seems like everybody's getting stood up for but the taxpayer.
Well, I'd still come back to we're lowering the tax rate to the max rate at 2.9%. So that's lower than the 3.75. So it's still lowering their capacity for lit.
All right.
I stand by that.
So going forward, people should be really excited. There's going to be a lot of local government reforms going forward. When do we get to hear those? Because Braun, I looked right at him and asked him, and he couldn't tell me a single thing he plans to do. So, when do we find that out?
Are you going to propose a bill first out of the gate next session?
I'm going to come back with the repeal and replacement bill. I did ask for a summer study committee on repealing and replacing the property tax system as well. So I'm hopeful to get a.
But you know, Houston's never going to let that get a hearing. He didn't this year, did he? As long as the rules are structured and Dan Stock came on and talked about this, as long as the rules are structured that you have one guy who rules by fiat, you're never going to get that bill heard.
I think if you get a majority of the committee and the chairman willing to hear it, it'll be allowed to be heard.
All right. Well, again, full credit to you. Mm-hmm. You're the one guy who doesn't run from us. You stood up, and I'm still pissed off at you, but you're here, and you get huge credit for that.
You know, Rob, we're not always going to agree, but I'll at least come on and be honest and explain my vote where we're at. And, you know, there's a lot of good things that we got to accomplish this session that we do agree on, like cutting line items in the budget, getting rid of or allowing for partisan school board elections in the state of Indiana, more transparency there, supporting parental rights in the court system. So there's a lot of other good things that we did that I know you agree with on there, but, you know, sometimes you just got to agree to disagree. And, you know, we're closer in alignment on this property tax than most. We might just have different tactics on how to get there.
Well, I'm out of it. I've done my part, so I'll let you lead it next year. There you go. All right.
It is Kendall Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Hey, will you be filing for Social Security in the next 5 years? The amount of lifetime income you get from Social Security could vary by hundreds of thousands of dollars. And basically, it all boils down to not only your timing, but also coordinating taxes, spousal benefits, IRAs, 401k withdrawals, and much more. Hammer and Nigel here. You got to make sure you get every penny that's rightfully yours with a free Social Security analysis from Bill Demery.
We trust Bill Demery, and you can too. And if you've saved more than $200,000 and have not yet filed for Social Security, schedule that free analysis right now by calling Bill Demery, 317-648-5120. This analysis could help you get hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional lifetime income, and it's free. Schedule it right now, 317-648-5120. 317-648-5120. Bill Demery, your retirement guy.
Hey, it's Matt Baer for Concrete Exteriors. Don't wait to beautify your home for summer for a fresh new look and increased home value. New siding by Concrete Exteriors is the answer. From James Hardy fiber cement siding to a big array of vinyl siding colors and styles, the experienced pros at Concrete have all the choices. Plus, a lifetime workmanship warranty and over 10,000 satisfied customers. For your free estimate, call Concrete Exteriors at 317-ROOFING or visit concreteexteriors.com. Tell them I sent you.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
President Trump leading investment forum in Saudi Arabia. It's cloudy, 69 degrees on Monument Circle. The high today, 76. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 10:30. President Trump arriving in Saudi Arabia today, his first overseas trip in his second term as president.
Trump was feted by the Crown Prince in the Saudi royal court, where the two leaders met hundreds of dignitaries, including from the Fortune 500. Business is on the agenda here in Saudi Arabia. This is Trump's first official trip of his second term, back where he made his first international trip when he first came to office 8 years ago. The Saudis have pledged a $600 billion investment in the U.S. Tomorrow, the president goes to Qatar and wraps up his three-day trip to the United Arab Emirates.
That's Fox's Lucas Tomlinson from Riyadh. The president is hoping for the Saudi investment in the form of weapon purchases, technology transfers, and the stock market. President Trump has also drawn criticism after claiming he would accept a $400 million luxury Boeing jet as a gift from Qatar and the possible new Air Force One. There's a current pause in the fighting between India and Pakistan after a U.S.-backed ceasefire. Officials from both sides are trying to continue that ceasefire. India and Pakistan have fought over the contested Kashmir regions for decades, with each nation claiming portions of it. The first group of Afrikaner refugees fleeing persecution from their native South Africa are now in the United States, many of them being farmers and former business owners. About 60 of them arrived in the States on a private charter plane not too long ago. And Kim Kardashian is testifying in the trial of 4 men who allegedly tied her up and robbed her in France at a hotel suite in 2016. Kardashian says the suspects in their 60s and 70s stole more than $6 million worth of jewelry from her. I'm Jarrett Lewis, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Millions of illegal aliens crossed our southern border under Biden administration policies. But now, things are changing. This is your Congressman, Jefferson Shreve. I'm committed to securing our borders and to protecting our Hoosier communities. I'm delivering for you. Because of Republican leadership, illegal border crossings are at an all-time low. I'm leading the charge to complete the southern border wall and deport illegal aliens. I'm fighting for Indiana and working for you in Congress.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Pat Sullivan here with exciting news from my friends at Hope Plumbing, now known as Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Hope now offers plumbing, heating, and air conditioning services, bringing total comfort to your home. No more dealing with multiple home service memberships. For only $8 a month, Hope is now your one-stop for safety and maintenance inspections and so much more. Make sure you're prepared for those Indiana summer heat waves with an AC tune-up by calling Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling today at 641-HOPE.
As our loved ones age, ensuring their safety at home becomes a top priority. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joyce House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. I'll be right back with some practical things you can do to reduce the possibility of a fall or injury.
Cardon and Associates offers the finest senior living options tailored to your loved one's needs. Reservations are now being accepted for new apartments at Copper Trace in Westfield. Visit cardon.com.
Removing tripping hazards such as rugs and floor clutter is one way to prevent or minimize falls around the home. Another is to position grab bars in the restroom and other common areas where your loved one may need some extra support. Contact your local area agency on aging to inquire about low-cost or free installation services. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joyce House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access a library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
Start her engine by racing into Pierce Jewelers in Carmel for that perfect diamond engagement ring that will put you in the winner's circle. Shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
The biggest party on dirt is back at Eldora Speedway, July 16th through 19th for the Kings Royal and High Limit Jokers Jackpot. Buy your tickets today at eldoraspeedway.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
All right, so talk about Trump and his horrible budget in a minute.
Okay.
A tax plan, whatever you want to call it. But first, I figured we should just comment on what JD Prescott had to say for just a few minutes. State representative, voted for, is a big supporter of the property tax bill that passed.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, you give him credit for coming in. He looks us in the eye and takes the smoke, and every one of his colleagues should be willing to do that. They won't, so we give him credit for that. But I think there's just a serious disconnect I mean, about what's going on. I think there's some issues with either understanding or verbalizing the truth. I mean, let's take the income tax, for example. They carved out locals' ability to raise income taxes in that bill. Did not exist. Counties could do it beforehand. Locals now have the ability to do it. He's acting like that did not happen. And obviously in a 2-segment interview, we try to get to as many things as we can. You can't do a deep dive, but that didn't exist. These cities and towns did not have the ability to do this, and now they do. So when he's talking about them cutting the local income tax ability, they know exactly what they're doing. They know it wasn't being used anyway, and they basically bought off these local governments. I mean, that Indy Star article, they interviewed all those Hamilton County mayors, and almost to a person, they were saying, without saying it, of course we're going to do this.
Well, and he even said it doesn't mean they're necessarily going to do it. They've already begun. They've already started doing it.
Yeah, you saw with the wheeled stuff, the wheeled tax and excise tax stuff. So that's pretty disingenuous. Look, the whole system is broken. And I think what these guys have caught on to is there's so many of them now. We've really screwed up. And it is the fault of the Democrats for being so crazy that they're just unelectable in many portions of the state. That these guys have caught on to. There's so many of us. Let's say you get 10 of them next year, and this is what's frustrating when they're like, vote them out, blah blah blah. Do you know how much money you're up against? Do you know how much many resources you're up against? Let's say of the 100 and whatever it is, I don't know if it's 110 or whatever the number of the 150. Let's say you can get 10 of them, which would be pretty good if you could get 10 of them out of there. Okay, so now there was about 3 or 4 decent ones in there right now. Now it's 15 versus 85. So what? And that's what these guys have caught on to is they can't get all of us. The only chance they can get us is if we piss the money off, and then the money turns on us, see John Jacob or Kurt Neisling. And so he's just not going to come off trying to sell this thing as being positive, but any person who's read it and has done the deep dive on it knows that these pitfalls are sitting there just waiting to happen.
Yeah. And we also know now that there's something going on legally with the Union School Corporation.
Well, that was interesting. And again, he's not going to come off that, and he's going to hide behind, hey, it's in litigation. But they could have voted that on as its own bill. I'm not even saying them closing down that school corporation wasn't a good idea.
Right.
It may very well have been. There's zero reason for it to have been in that property tax bill.
Right.
It's a cover bill, right? It's the same reason they tuck these things into the budget and everything else. Things that they want to get done, they'll throw them into this mega bill, which is exactly what we're about to talk about with Trump and this reconciliation thing that got proposed yesterday.
Okay, so in regards to that, the House Ways and Means Committee, they released their full version of their 289-page tax bill. Now, think about that for a second. How big was Senate Bill 1 by the time it was done?
368, I think was the number.
368 for the state of Indiana.
That's correct.
Now, the federal tax bill is 389 pages.
Right, and we'd said the entire state budget was 222 or 21 pages. Okay, so yesterday, and by the way, again, people have hearing problems that listen to this program, so we have to set the record straight. Somebody in the YouTube chat, didn't Rob say no more interviews because he was tired of being lied to? Casey, have I ever said no more interviews?
No, you said no more endorsements.
Yeah, we're not supporting any of these people. We are burning everything to the ground, and we will gladly talk to any one of these people that want to come in and talk to us. We're just done supporting people because we've been lied to too many times. And somebody else, all these people who have all the ideas, next year can lead the property tax. We are on a kamikaze mission on this program to burn everything in our path to the ground, so somebody else can get blamed next year for trying. Anyway, so yesterday we told you that you have very unserious people running our country at all levels, and you're seeing it play out in Washington, D.C., where the Republicans are again proving that they are not remotely serious about government accountability. They're not remotely serious about government spending. They're not remotely serious about inflation and the reconciliation, what do they call it? The big, beautiful bill.
Big, beautiful bill.
You should have red flags going up all over the place when you hear big and bill, because big and bill in one thing, that ain't the way it's supposed to be operating, is going to add $20 trillion plus to the nation's debt over the next 10 years. It is loaded with special interest giveaways. It does not make meaningful reforms to the two primary areas that are driving our spending and our debt, which are Medicaid, Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. These three areas are two, if you put Medicare, Medicaid into one thing, are the primary driver of spending in this country, the debt in this country, and waste, fraud, and abuse in this country. And they're largely not, I mean, they're not in terms of structurally reforming any of them. They're tinkering around the edges on reforms in terms of making people go to work. I hope they didn't strain a muscle doing that. You've got the no tax on tips thing, which is totally ridiculous, that some work is better than others and is going to be taxed differently. You've got this SALT thing, this state and local income tax, in which these big government, big tax states, like these reps from California and New York. So state and local income tax deductions before 2017, you could take what you paid in state and local income tax in these big tax states and deduct them off your federal income tax. Wisely, in 2017, the one of the smart things the Republicans did is said, why, if I live in a low tax state, am I subsidizing some person who lives in a high tax state? And they nixed that. Now they're reinstituting some of that into this thing. Now the big tax state people are saying no dice because it ain't enough. They don't have the votes to get this done right now. But when you're talking about adding another $20 trillion to the nation's debt when you're over 10 years, when you're already sitting at $37 trillion, that these are unserious clown people. And that includes the president, because he's on board with this.
Yeah, Mike Johnson, the speaker, said that he's confident the bill's going to pass by Memorial Day. Trump has called it a unifying bill, calling it great. He said we must win. But you're right. Some of the key provisions in the bill, making the Trump tax cuts permanent from 2017. You got the no tax on tips. You got the car loan interest can be deducted.
That's ridiculous.
Through 28. The child tax credit increased to $2,500 through 28, and the $4 trillion debt ceiling increased.
Yeah, so let me come back to that, because, so for example, I will benefit in terms of that child tax credit. And if we're in the giveaway game, then you should get as much of yours as you possibly can. However, if you told me, Rob, we will give you an additional $500 a year, it's real money, right? It's a credit. So it's not a part of a deduction. It's an actual credit. If you told me, Rob, you can get this $500 and we will pass this bill that adds another $20 trillion to the nation's debt, or we won't give you the $500 and we're going to cut everybody else too, and we're going to balance our budget and our spending, I would take the balance of budget and the spending, because as COVID proved, remember when people were getting those checks and they're like, oh, I got $1,200 or I got $600.
Paying for it now.
How many times over have you paid for that? But they're just not. They're simply, the Republicans cannot help themselves. They are wholly invested in legalized vote buying. They're totally petrified. They're frozen in fear that if they do anything with Medicare or Social Security, that they're going to get ads run against them, and being in office is more important than doing the right thing. So it's the status quo. It's just business as usual in Washington.
Also, no increase in the top tax rate. It was going to go up, and Trump initially supported it, but then he backtracked on it.
They don't need to do any of this. Just structurally reform the government. It's utterly ridiculous that they refuse to look at someone like Kevin, who is 30 years old, and say, Kevin, the Social Security program is going bankrupt. We are running out of money. Medicare, socialized medicine program, is running out of money. It's going bankrupt. We have to make reforms for you so that it will be there, so that you can have it when you are a senior citizen. And if that means we got to, and I'll say it for me too, even though I'm a little older than Kevin, no changes for you, Casey. You're close enough. We'll leave you out of the change equation.
Yeah.
But to say anybody who's 50 and under, we're going to raise the age, or I'm just picking numbers here, right? 50 or 45 or whatever. Your age is going up to 65 or whatever. We're going to raise it by 2 years, 3 years to ensure to be eligible to get this thing so that everybody has it. That doesn't make you wanting to kill grandparents. It doesn't make you some horrible person. It makes you a person who can do math and recognizes we have no money in this country. These programs are highly flawed. They're riddled with waste, fraud, and abuse. And like they're acting like some big thing in the Medicare thing that they're the Medicaid thing that they're Medicaid that they're forcing people to go to work now. They're enhancing the work requirement. Really? Like, that's some heavy lift? That able-bodied people should be forced to go to work? And if you're able-bodied and you won't work, you shouldn't get free health care? That's some controversial thing? What are we doing here?
Mm-hmm. Another thing is this bill, it's continued. It's going to be going to committee markup today. And then the debate is going to start at 2:30 today, likely continuing overnight.
Now, this is what's fascinating about this.
It's going to happen while you're sleeping.
Well, of course, it always happens while you're sleeping. Now, what's going to be interesting about this is they're stuck in between a rock and a hard place because these big government state people, the California, New York, Illinois people, these state reps, and they need every vote. They don't have many votes to spare because the margin is so thin. They are dug in on saying we are the SALT cap, the state and local income tax cap deduction is at $10,000 right now.
Yeah,
it's going up to 30, yeah. But they've said that's not even close to acceptable. Well, then the Chip Roy people have said we haven't done enough on anything yet, so I'm not there. However, this is the problem. These Freedom Caucus people, Sparts and the rest of them, huff and puff, and then it comes time to vote, and they go, well, what choice did I have? Mm-hmm. And I think Johnson has recognized that it's all bark, no bite from these Freedom Caucus people and the Chip Roy people. You know, the one that was an actual bite was Matt Gaetz. He's the one dude who actually, bit on these people. And I think they'll end up giving more stuff away in this bill because they don't believe the Freedom Caucus, Chip Roy, Jim Jordan people have the stones to actually tank the bill, and I think they'll call their bluff.
Chip Roy's saying it's a big, beautiful bill among many issues. A few good things aside, number one being debt goes up $20 trillion over the next 10 years.
Yeah, we called this bill perfectly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It is 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, we're live from the Meekum auction at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Come down, say hello, noon to 3 after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
Premier Deck Coating, the ultimate deck protection. Who are they? Well, they're a sister company of Rhino Shield, and Premier Deck Coating is the product you need if you're tired of applying the same old stain and paint every couple of years to your deck. It's Terry, Stacy, and David and I have a deck that's probably 25 years old. The countless hours and the money that we spend on maintaining that deck never ends. And then we heard about Premier Deck Coating. Family-owned, based right here in Indy, and they are going to completely transform our deck with their special formulated product, which repels moisture, scratch-resistant in virtually any color that we want, and backed by a 10-year guarantee. No more spending time staining or painting every year. Premier Deck Coating will keep our deck looking great for years to come. Premier Deck Coating can also do fences and pergolas, too. For a free quote, call 317-696-4071 or visit premierdeckcoating.com.
During much of Indiana's history, communicating on the telephone with the deaf or hard of hearing was nearly impossible. Friends and loved ones couldn't stay in touch, so the hard of hearing became isolated. Today, those with hearing loss have equal access with the captioned telephone from Relay Indiana and can keep their independence. Relay Indiana allows a caller to read what the other party is saying. This advanced technology keeps Hoosiers connected so that everyone can contribute to Indiana's productive future. Learn more at RelayIndiana.com.
This is the epic story that takes a whole month to tell. This is May. The legendary intense action of the month of May continues as PPG presents Armed Forces Indy 500 qualifying and the thrilling drama of the fight for the pole position. The most epic month continues with Indy's most epic party, Your Light Carb Day. And all roads lead to the 109th running of the Indianapolis 500 presented by Gainbridge. This is epic. This is legendary. This is May. Buy now and save. Get tickets at IMS.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Guys, don't waste time and money with low-quality online TRT that charges you over $100 just to start. Visit the TRT experts at the Low T Center for a free consultation and a free test. Treatment is personalized to your body, and most major insurances accept it. Looking to lose weight? Get a free B12 shot when you start prescription treatment right now at the Low T Center. Offer is limited, but book right now. FixMyLowT.com. That's FixMyLowT.com.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-296-1251. 800-296-1251. That's 800-296-1251. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
Don't get suckered into the same old free phone game by Big Wireless. There is a better way. Pure Talk, my sponsor, my wireless company, has a better offer. A brand new free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan for $35 a month. You get unlimited talk, unlimited text, 15 gigs of data, all on America's most dependable 5G network. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk for your free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan. Pure Talk, wireless by Americans for Americans.
Do you need air conditioning service and want to work with a local independent dealer that you can trust, like Stevenson Heating and Cooling? We'll find that American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
Tired of digging through noise to find real news? Go straight to WIBC.com. Local stories, statewide impact, national headlines, info that matters. When news breaks, WIBC.com is already on it. Stay on the know while you're on the go.
Can we talk about time for a second?
Sure. It's 10:52.
Thank you. I saw this post. It's Kendall Casey show. I'm Rob. That's Casey. So Danica McKellar, who played Winnie Cooper on The Wonder Years, posted yesterday that yesterday was the 32nd anniversary of the final episode of The Wonder Years.
Okay.
Which I distinctly remember watching that in my living room in the same house that I live next to now with my family. And the end of the show, and I remember all of it, how anticipated that was and how they were going to end it, and it was such a popular show. But I'm thinking in my mind, okay, that was 1993, 32 years. The Wonder Years took place from 1988 to 1993.
Yeah, that's when the show was on.
Which was essentially a 20-year reverse of the main character, Kevin Arnold's life. The show starts in 1988. It's supposed to be taking place in 1968. And, of course, the thread through the whole thing is that Daniel Stern, very famous actor, probably best known for Home Alone, was the voice, him in the modern day doing the voice.
Yeah.
And it's so weird for me now as an adult because 1968 to 1988, or take, for example, even let's say 1993 to 1968 was 25 years. As a kid, that seemed like this time machine sort of thing.
So long ago. Yeah.
You would have needed Doc Brown to bring you some vessel to be transported back. However, by today's standard, that would be the equivalent of 2000.
Right.
Today.
Which doesn't seem as far away.
So when I was watching that with my parents, because they're very similar ages to the character on The Wonder Years, I am now much older than my parents were when they were watching it with me, and the time that I would have to go back to the equivalent time he's thinking of would have been far longer than they would have had to been to go back to the time in their own childhood, which is why that show is popular for the baby boomer era. It was a reliving, and so time. So 32 years ago, that show went off the air. The show only went back 20 years in time. So the time it's been off the air was far longer than that show went back in time. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Nostalgic tone was the theme of that show. And you had asked me if I watched it a lot. And I mean, I'm familiar with it. I knew, the characters and Winnie, and I knew what the theme of the show was, but it went on the air the year I graduated high school, and it aired while I was in college. So that's not exactly one of those shows that you would sit around your dorm room or on the college campus. And it was an appointment viewing for a college-age student.
Well, and it's interesting you say that because you're a Gen Xer. So I think your generation largely has no connection to that show because
I lived it.
You lived it, but you're like my parents, it was literally an echoing of their childhood because the show centers around, it's obviously a made up town, a made up family, whatever. But the events are historical events, and the things that happened in the Vietnam War and all of these things, they relate to it. So they shared that with my generation, which is, what am I? I'm not a Z. I'm a
millennial.
Millennial. Thank you. So the millennials are connected to it because their parents shared that show with them because it was the parents reflecting on the childhood. But your generation is like a lost generation on that because you have no connectivity whatsoever to that time frame.
And I may be an outlier on that.
No, I don't think you are. I think
there
it's
could be
accurate.
many people my age who loved the show, but I was graduating high school when it debuted. And then while it aired, I was in college. So it wasn't this big, benchmark of a show for me.
All right, thanks for letting me do that. I just wanted to I saw that post and I thought, oh my gosh.
It did win an Emmy, by the way.
It's a great show.
For Outstanding Comedy Series the year it debuted.
And I asked my friend Ben Stein. I used to do our longtime listeners will know I used to do the Ben Stein podcast show and on YouTube and Rumble. And I talked to him quite a bit because he was on the Wonder Years as one of the teachers, and he was talking about what
he always plays the teacher.
Well, he's kind of typecasted.
Yeah,
great guy though, and he was saying what a special show for a guy who's been on everything from Seinfeld, all had his own TV show. He said what a special show that was, and how just what a great group of actors, even though they were children, those kids were, and just what fond memories he has being on the Wonder Years.
Hey, we haven't talked about our governor, Mike Braun, much today. Can we do that coming up?
Yes. That's
all right. It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Turning 65, new to Medicare, or just moved? If you qualify for Medicare and Medicaid, a Humana Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan, a D-SNP, may give you the extra benefits you're looking for. A D-SNP helps cover things like prescriptions and checkups, but it also helps pay for essentials, too. With a Humana D-SNP, you get $225 a month for eligible groceries, rent, utilities, and more. Plus, whatever you don't spend carries over to the next month. You may even get benefits like $0 copays on routine prescriptions, plus routine dental, vision, or hearing coverage. All of this could make a difference for your health and wallet. Learn more at GetHumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a coordinated care HMO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the Indiana Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal. Allowance amounts cannot be combined with other benefit allowances. Limitations and restrictions may apply.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Saturday is the Sundown Gardens Spring Open House. Save 20% off everything in stock, excluding labor. Sundown Gardens, 186th Street and Spring Mill Road in Westfield.
This week at Sullivan Hardware and Garden, get 30% off all patio furniture, wicker, Berlin Gardens, poly, cast aluminum, teak, and more.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recyclers Studios, the defense for a death row inmate trying to spare his life. Also, multiple indie shootings to end the Mother's Day weekend. In preparation for the Pacers in Cleveland, Game 5, they can win that series. With the win, it's Game 5 tip-off at 7. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
It takes everyone in the community working together to create a brighter future. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Visit liveunited.org to learn how you can help.
The U.S. and Saudi Arabia make a deal. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Trump signed the economic agreement a little while ago with the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman.
What they signed opens up the door to a lot of trade, a lot of investment, a minerals deal that includes the U.S. and companies and Saudi Arabia.
The president wants $1 trillion in investments on this trip that will also take him to the United Arab Emirates and Qatar. Fox's Brett Baer also reports from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The Syrian president is going to go there tomorrow
to meet with President Trump and the Crown Prince, the Syrian president. That's a big deal as this region continues to figure out the next steps as they continue the tension with Iran.
And Reuters is just reporting the U.S. is imposing new sanctions on a shipping network for illicit oil sales, sending millions of barrels of Iranian oil to China. Kim Kardashian testified today in Paris. She thought she was going to die in a 2016 hotel room robbery.
This is the first time she's confronted the men accused of robbing her of more than $6 million worth of jewelry. Kardashian told the court one attacker pulled her towards him while she was wearing only a bathrobe, and she felt certain she was about to be raped.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. At Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking trial, singer Cassie Ventura will soon testify in the case against the star rapper and music producer. She's the one in an infamous video from 2016 that the jury watched yesterday of her being beaten by Combs.
She is set to be a key witness for the prosecution. He was trying to prove to jurors Diddy coerced and trafficked Cassie and other women to fuel his sexual desires. Diddy's defense attorney says while these relationships were indeed toxic and dysfunctional, they weren't sex trafficking.
Fox's CB Cotton outside the federal court in New York City. We got an inflation update for April showing a slight month-over-month increase in consumer prices, but the annual inflation rate declined slightly to the lowest annual rate since 2021. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Severe weather in the forecast this week. It's cloudy, 69 degrees in downtown Indy. No rain on the radar at the moment. 76 the high today. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:02. More rain is expected to keep falling across Indiana this week, beginning as early as Thursday.
All right, so, it's not going to be continuous rain, but we are in a bit of a, for the middle of May, it's a bit of a humid pattern. Dew points are up a little bit in the 60s. We'll call it moderate humidity.
Alex McGinnis with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says Thursday is the day where severe weather is most likely at this point. Hard rain could fall into Friday as well. The final clemency hearing Monday for Benjamin Ritchie. He continues to ask the state of Indiana to keep him from being executed for killing Beech Grove police officer Bill Toney back in 2000. Tony's mother, Joanne, spoke at Monday's hearing.
I feel I am at Bill's funeral all over again.
The Indiana Parole Board will make a non-binding recommendation whether to grant clemency, but it will be the sole decision of Governor Mike Braun on whether it's granted. A graffiti-covered high-rise across from Shortridge High School, vacant for some time, is getting a major transformation. Developer TWG plans to convert the 9-story building into the Grand Meridian, offering nearly 100 affordable housing units. It's a decisive Game 5 for the Indiana Pacers as they take on the Cleveland Cavaliers this evening in Cleveland. A win will put the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals yet again.
We're going to keep approaching this like we have everything to prove, and we know people don't believe in us. And so we're going to just stay in the fight and keep fighting.
That's head coach Rick Carlisle. Donovan Mitchell, a game-time decision for the Cavs with a bum ankle. Tip-off tonight at 7. And preparation for the Indianapolis 500 begins today with the first practice session underway next hour. Kyle Larson tells the Kevin Harvick podcast that so far he's not doing much different from his run last year.
Yeah, last year I thought everything went well. I thought, we had a good car balance. I thought overall I felt like we were prepared really well last year. So I don't think there's too much to do different this year.
Larson crashed in April testing. Qualifying is this Saturday with pole day on Sunday. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Good morning to you from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. For the first time this May on 93 WIBC, I'm Brendan King with your track update. And the first official practice for the 109th running of the Indianapolis 500 coming your way at noon. But right now, rain light is falling at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Overcast conditions, 67 degrees. So the hope is that we will get cars on the track at noon. That at least right now to be determined. The rest of the schedule looks like this. Practice 1 from noon until 2. The veteran refresher from 2 until 4. More on that in a sec. And then practice number 2 from 4 until 6. The veteran refresher specifically for Tony Kanaan. He is the emergency replacement for Kyle Larson, who is trying to run the double between the Indianapolis 500 and the Coca-Cola 600. If it rains on race morning, Kyle Larson may head to Charlotte. So that's why Tony Kanaan is getting ready in the veteran refresher. I'm Brendan King, 93 WIBC.
Masters Heating and Cooling is ready to make sure you are cool and comfortable all summer long. They took great care of my system, and they can help you make sure that everything is ready to go to ensure a nice, comfortable summer and then a very comfortable winter. I've worked with their general manager, David, numerous times, and it has always been a pleasure. And right now, you can get $500 off a new AC system. And if you've worked with Masters before and you've spent more than $500 on AC repairs in the last year, you can apply that amount as a credit towards a new system as well. Masters Heating and Cooling makes it easy. They've got flexible financing options and 24/7 service, so no matter what your issue, Masters Heating and Cooling is right there to take care of you and your family. Give Masters Heating and Cooling a call. 317-567-9505. Tell them Tony Katz sent you. 317-567-9505. Or request service online at mastersindy.com. mastersindy.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's Diamond Engagement Ring Store.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Casey, you ever have your husband make a huge mistake?
Have I ever had him do it, or has he done it on his own?
Well, either way, I'm saying.
Probably both.
Now, you were probably a little upset when whatever that thing happened.
That mistake.
Like maybe he spent too much on magazines. I don't know what Sports Illustrated.
Possibly.
And chances are that you let him know how unhappy you were that now not only is his entire room, but several bathrooms are taken up with old Sports Illustrated.
Just a shower, maybe.
And chances are that to get back in your good graces, he tried to do something very nice for you in return, like buy you something nice. That's become Mike Braun.
Smooth it over.
Mike Braun is the guy with too many Sports Illustrateds in his house. The wife has gotten angry, and now he's turned into check hander out guy in order to try to make people forget what a horrible, rotten, dastardly thing he did during the legislative session, which is screw everybody on property taxes and raise a bunch of their other taxes in the process.
Didn't he tell us that a veto was only symbolic? It's pretty much saying he has no authority or power as governor in the state, so he's now relegated to handing out big checks.
Think about that's what he did because of course he changed his tune. But he admitted publicly, or said publicly, so I don't even agree with it, but he said publicly, I am a colossal giant waste of space and oxygen. I don't even know why I'm here. My job is just to sign whatever garbage the General Assembly sends me. That was what he said on Tony Katz's show.
Pretty much. That's what he said.
So now he has hit the road, and he knows everybody's angry at him, so he is he's he is morphing. You know the meme where there's the 4 boxes and somebody just morphs into something? This is Mike Braun morphing into Diego Morales. He is becoming giant check hander out guy.
Okay, now the big difference with these giant checks that Mike Braun has, it doesn't have his name on it and big governor like the Diego checks did. Because wasn't it Diego Morales, the Secretary of State, when he was passing out checks that had his name and Secretary of State on it, when actually it should have said taxpayers on there somewhere.
But this, in fairness, it doesn't say taxpayer either.
No,
the word taxpayer doesn't appear anywhere in the checks Braun is handing out.
No.
His signature's on them, as though out of his bank account,
his own personal account,
Bronski signed the check himself. That $136 million he's worth. The city of Monticello is benefiting directly from the Braun family fortune.
Right. This is from my savings account, from my paper route.
I mean, that is ridiculous that nowhere on this giant check does it say state taxpayer. taxpayer.
No, not even the memo line.
It does say Indiana Department of Transportation, as though INDOT has a money farm somewhere, and they're just growing money out of it and sending it off to the people in Monticello.
And nowhere, even on the social media post, does it say anything about this money coming from the taxpayers.
No thanks.
No
thanks for all this money we're confiscating.
Here's what I'm doing with the money you gave us.
And by the way, just like every other post Braun makes on social media, or his intern or whatever makes, the comments are just glorious.
So he was out presenting state matching funds through the Community Crossings matching
Let's
grant.
call them what they are. They're bribes.
Bribes, right. But you're right. The comments, the first one, property taxes.
So he being Braun, went to Monticello, which is
northern Indiana.
That's right. There's more than corn in
Northwest.
Indiana. Isn't that where Indiana Beach is? Isn't that Monticello? And presented them with a check. The city of Monticello. Let's see here just a second. Casey, city of what did you guys do before there was the internet? Population. How did you do this?
You
stuff?
asked people and you brought in magazines.
Okay, so according to the census, the city of Monticello, would you like to take a guess at what the population of the city of Monticello is?
Oh, okay, let's go with 6,000.
6,000. Kevin, would you like to get in on this? Price is Right rules. Would you like to take a guess? If you go over, you lose. What you think the population is of the city of Monticello? Casey is in at 6,000.
10,000.
Casey, you're very close. 6,018.
Wow, I win the Showcase Showdown.
Is the Monticello population according to now the 2020 census had them at 5,508, but the Google thing says 6,000. So either way,
we're gonna go with Google.
It's a.
Do I get an all expenses paid?
Oh,
trip
I'm
to
sorry. Wait a second.
Cincinnati.
Yeah. Wait a second. According to, and they said in 2020. So Monticello has seen about a 400. Not quite a 400 person, 350 person increase over the past 5 years. Anyway, it's a relatively small city. He presented the city of 6,000 people with a check for $1.38 million.
How much was it?
$1.38 million. $1,380,165.43.
Okay.
So this was the bribe, check given to the people of Monticello for the community, the matching funds, whatever. Now, let's remove the fact that it's pathetic that the governor has now turned into check hander out guy and doesn't even thank the taxpayers for the check that he's handing out. What's fascinating is this sort of coincides with an article James Briggs has in the Indy Star. Now, I don't agree with the headline, but there's some data in there that I think is spot on, which it says Indianapolis needs to raise taxes to fix its potholes. So in this new road funding bill, the bill by which Braun is sprinting to raise the taxes on tolls, which we told you he would do that, there is the city of Indianapolis inside of that bill was given a special provision that the state will match up to $50 million in road funding. So if the city is willing to put $50 million additional dollars into road funding,
it'll unlock the state's contribution.
The state will match it dollar for dollar. Now, as we've had City Councilor Josh Bain on, the city of Indianapolis has a budget of $1.6 billion. $50 million is nothing. And as Josh Bain said, we spend money on all sorts of things that could go to roads they could find that they don't need to raise taxes in order to do it. They could find that money and allocate it. But what I did agree with Briggs in this article is how screwed up our road funding formula is, because they go based on lane miles, not road width. So the city of Indianapolis, the roads are markedly bigger than I'm going to guess most roads in the city of Monticello are. And when you're factoring in lane miles, because the city lengthwise is not that great, it's the width of the roads. The city of Indianapolis has been getting screwed on a funding formula, but the reason that happens is because there's so many more lawmakers outside of the city of Indianapolis than in the city of Indianapolis. So this is when we talk about legalized vote buying, this is what I'm talking about right here. A city of 6,000 people is getting a check, which, and again, no way to demean the good people of Monticello. This is not your fault. I'm not saying you're horrible people. I'm simply saying society does not work properly when a city of 6,000 people gets a check for $1.38 million while the primary economic hub for the entire state, the capital city, is forced to have some matching program based on the fact that their roads are in horrible condition. In some of it's incompetency. There's no doubt about that. Somebody is because the city's poorly run. But they made a point. The WRTV just had a montage that they produced over the past 45 years of mayors from Bill Hudnut to Bart Peterson to Greg Ballard to now Joe Hogsett staring at potholes going, this is a giant problem. So it's not a Republican problem. It's not a Democrat problem. We are totally screwed up on how we fund roads in this state because the rural lawmakers flex their muscle and they say, there's more of us still than there are of you, Donut County and Central Indiana people, and we're getting ours.
Yeah, you're right. So Indianapolis has 8,400 lane miles, but only receives funding based on 3,400 road miles.
Right.
And that's due to the formula favoring the rural roads.
So he's right. The whole system is screwed up. Thus why you have the one horrible road funding bill after another, because these rural lawmakers are in the legalized vote buying business just like the rest of the people, and they're going to make sure that their people get theirs, whether it's fair or equitable or best for the state. They're not interested in protecting the people of Central Indiana because they leave once the session's over and they don't have to come back for another year, and they don't got to deal with it. And so this is why our roads are in the shape they're in. This is why things don't get done. And I just thought that was very interesting that the day after Braun became check hander out guy, James Briggs had that article sort of laying out, aside from the tax increases, what the actual issue is.
Yeah, but James Briggs also argues that Hogsett should take the deal, even if it means a political hit, because he's most likely not running for office again. So what, Hogsett's going to take the deal on his way out the door, but we're left holding the bag?
Well, but I don't think he would have to raise taxes in order to do this. I don't think they'd have to do that. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting how that coincides. And, our goal is to entertain first, but educate second. And we wanted to point out that the governor is not thanking you at all for all that money he's handing out.
Did you see the tweet that Diego Morales, Secretary of State, put out? National Odometer Day. And, of course, it's a big picture of an odometer. And then at the bottom, it just says, Diego Morales, Indiana Secretary of State. So is this reasonable or is it ridiculous? Since we're talking about, roads.
Yeah.
Yesterday was National Odometer Day. Part of me says, okay, you know what?
Casey,
he does give the licenses away or, for the car dealerships. And isn't he in charge of the BMV?
Yeah,
overseeing it.
But I just, I don't even know what to like. I did it almost never happens. It almost never happens where I don't have a take on anything. It's so stupid that there's a National Odometer Day. Like everything has a day now,
right?
But it's National Nurses Day. Okay, thank a nurse, right? Or it's National whatever day. An odometer is not a person. It's not a thing.
Correct.
It's not a being. It's inserted into every car. Every person has one. There's nothing special about it. All it does is track mileage. It just clicks over every mile that you pursue. Some, obviously, I assume all the newer cars are electronic. Older cars still have the thing that the dial actually moves. What does it even mean to have a day? What does it even mean?
By the way, it was invented by a guy named William Clayton. So National Odometer Day, celebrated on May 12th to commemorate this invention. And you're supposed to take the time to check your odometer. It's a great way to keep track of your car's mileage and make sure your vehicle is running smoothly. So I guess for the Secretary of State, Diego Morales, this is somewhat on brand for what his actual job is.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say to this case. Like it's so utterly ridiculous. By the way, has anybody figured out who paid for Diego to go to India?
No, not yet.
Maybe he could.
Still working on that.
Maybe the odometer that was there when he was driving around could let us know in honor of Odometer Day.
Hey, let's talk about another guy who's getting a new job, at least temporary, and that's Michael Jordan. It's 93 WIBC.
This May, you've got a chance to see what an IndyCar driver's dream garage really looks like. WIBC's Tales from the Track, presented by Relay Indiana, takes you inside Graham Rahal Performance, a high-octane hangout where racing meets luxury. Hammer and Nigel sit down with Graham for great stories, laughs, and insights from someone who grew up on the hallowed grounds of the IMS. But this backstage pass to speed, style, and surprises is sold out. The only place to register to win tickets is WIBC.com.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling will pay you cash for your scrap metal. Race Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling may seem familiar to you, and that's because they are. They're trusted local family-owned businesses going back 3 generations in Indy with their familiar orange logo and a name you know. But you may not know they'll pay you cash for your scrap metal. Cash is king. Your scrap aluminum, steel, copper, and brass will get you cash from Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Just drop it off or schedule a pickup, and you'll put cash in your pocket. Raise Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Local names you can trust with 2 locations.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Get cash for your scrap. Get started at farnsworthmetals.com.
Attention. If you suffer from consistent pain in your joints caused by arthritis, overuse, or injury, you may be a candidate for a revolutionary therapy that could revitalize damaged tissue. This approach can provide long-lasting relief from pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. To find out if you're a viable candidate, you may request a free consultation from QC Kinetics by calling 463-251-1912. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy is available right now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. Again, to find out if you're a viable candidate for this therapy, you may request a free consultation by calling QC Kinetics at 463-251-1912. That's 463-251-1912.
I'm a proud owner of B-Window.
I'm a proud B-Window owner.
I'm a proud B-Window owner.
When you work with a local, employee-owned home improvement company like B-Window, quality comes first because your home improvements are a reflection of our business. And for a limited time, we're extending our employee discount to you, up to 55% off all products and services, plus 18 months, no interest, no payments. Trust local, trust employee-owned, trust your home to be.
Trust me. I was driving to my sister's house, and it happened just like that. The guy apparently had been on the phone and just wasn't paying attention. I got 2 bars and 6 screws in my neck now. For the 6-day hospital stay and the 2 surgeries was over $300,000. I just had my husband call Hensley right away. They took care of everything. It definitely happens. So just hire Hensley.
It's Kubota Orange Days. From America's #1 selling compact tractor to zero-turn mowers and versatile RTVs, get your perfect match delivered to your door. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,000 off select compact tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Stop by McAllister Machinery in Indianapolis to see the full line of Kubota or visit McAllisterKubota.com.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Pat Sullivan here with exciting news from my friends at Hope Plumbing, now known as Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Hope now offers plumbing, heating, and air conditioning services, bringing total comfort to your home. No more dealing with multiple home service memberships. For only $8 a month, Hope is now your one stop for safety and maintenance inspections and so much more. Make sure you're prepared for those Indiana summer heat waves with an AC tune-up by calling Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling today at 641-HOPE.
This week at Sullivan Hardware and Garden, see their large selection of grills, Weber, Traeger, and Napoleon, along with the Big Green Egg.
Casey, would you like me to read my most recent Google searches? Would you like me to read my Google search history?
Yeah. What are you doing over there?
I was looking up
something nefarious?
Well, it popped up, and I thought, wow, that's pretty wild that I can read this. Are you ready? I'll start from the bottom and go up. Are you ready? Okay. What was the cost of a Nintendo in 1989?
That was yesterday.
Franklin wheel tax. Famous singers named Kevin.
Right. I could only come up with two. There was Kevin Jonas from the Jonas Brothers and Kevin Richardson from the Backstreet Boys.
Kevin Cronin from Mario Speedwagon.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's three. Three Kevins. Kevin McNamara from Uno Gold.
Not a singer, he's a drummer.
Oh, right.
And then where is the Ultimate Warrior buried?
Oh, where?
Well, he's buried in Indiana, which I didn't know. He lived in New Mexico and Arizona later in his life, and so I had a buddy of mine send me a picture of his tombstone. And for most of our audience knows this, I had a brief yet memorable encounter on multiple occasions with the Ultimate Warrior, the professional wrestler, former professional wrestler.
What kind of encounter? Did he threaten you?
No, he was very nice. He was
body slam you?
No, so he actually, when he stopped wrestling, he became a conservative writer. Like he started blogging about conservative politics, and he was super into exercise and all sorts of things. And so I wrote him a letter one day, and he called me, and we had a very nice, very, very, very long conversation on multiple trips. I don't want to bore the audience with my all the celebrities I know, but anyway, so I was looking up where is the Ultimate Warrior buried,
and where is he buried?
What is it? It's new.
It's right there on your Google.
Yeah,
search.
no. I'm not actually clicking on the thing. It's in West Point Cemetery.
Okay.
In 10 minutes southwest of Lafayette.
Okay.
So there you go.
So you've never been though?
No, I haven't been. I didn't know until right now.
But now you know.
Now I know.
All right. What else do you have?
Roche Market Cap.
Right.
The Office spinoff. How old was Kevin Arnold in the Wonder Years? How big is Indianapolis budget? City of Monticello population.
Wow.
1, 2,
that
3,
runs the
4,
gamut,
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's not my last 9 searches.
Okay, clear that out. You probably got a huge cache from the past 3 years in there.
Why does Google have a thing that says I'm feeling lucky? What would happen if I click this?
Go
Do you
for
know?
it.
Has anybody ever tried
I've done it in the past.
You
It's
have?
been many, many years.
What happened?
I don't remember.
I'm going to try it.
Do it.
I'm feeling lucky. Doodles are spontaneous. Celebration of events. That doesn't do anything for me. Why would that? I don't even know what this is. That was a horrible waste of my time.
Are you feeling lucky?
No, I'm not.
Maybe that's why it's not really doing anything
All right,
for you.
sorry. I thought of that, and I thought, well, I should just read that to the audience. What are the things I've been looking up over the past 2 days here on the work computer?
Do you want me to do mine?
Yeah, go for
it. No, we're not going to do that. Although the virus that had been on this computer, which I share with Nigel.
That's right.
So we're going to completely blame it all on Nigel.
Right.
It's gone. So at some point, they have cleaned up my computer.
That's very good.
Somebody somewhere did something, which was
Very
nice. Michael Jordan going to be joining NBC Sports as a special contributor. This when the NBA returns to NBC later this year.
So they're leaving TNT. They're going back to NBC. People of my generation as kids prominently remember NBC basketball, the NBA being on NBC, the theme song. They had a very famous voice guy who did the voiceovers. The theme song was iconic. Apparently, I read a report yesterday where they're bringing the voice guy. He passed away maybe 2017, and they're bringing through AI, they're bringing his voice back to do the voiceovers for the NBA on NBC.
They're also bringing back the Round Ball Rock theme song that you're talking about.
Yes, so this will be nostalgia for if you were a 90s kid or a person who was, watched NBA basketball in the 90s. And that's cool. They're bringing Jordan back as a part of this because obviously he was such a big part of basketball in the 1990s, the biggest part probably of basketball in the 1990s. And he's a pretty shut-off guy, so I'm kind of surprised he's willing to do this. I don't know what the full picture of what he's going to do exactly is, but he doesn't do a lot of interviews. He doesn't do media appearances. He's a pretty sheltered guy. And
he's never been a commentator either, so it'll be really interesting to see how he does with this.
Right, yeah, and so that'll be interesting. So good on them. I'm very interested, and I'm mostly excited for the voice guy through AI and the NBA,
and the John Tesh song.
Yes, the theme song.
So Michael Jordan said the NBA on NBC was a meaningful part of his career, and he's excited about being a special commentator or contributor to the project.
You know, like when you were a kid, one of the things that the internet has done is it has really limited the amount of things that are truly surprises. So what I mean by that is you can instantaneously, you don't have to wonder about things anymore. You can instantaneously at any time look something up and get probably a pretty accurate answer depending on what you're asking. When I was a kid, the guy who did the voice work for the NBA on NBC was also the voice guy for the World Wrestling Federation. And obviously I was a huge wrestling fan as a kid. And I remember when it dawned on me that it was the same guy, but in my mind it was like, it can't be the same guy. He already has a job. This guy sounds just like the guy on the NBA on NBC. And then you realize, no, dumbass. This is what this guy does for a living. He's probably
he
on
does voiceovers.
commercials.
That's what he does.
But it was kind of cool because I couldn't look it up. I had to put it together.
Right.
And then you'd hear it the next time and go, it's the same.
Well, now you can still put it together, but you can just use your Google search.
That's right. It's not as much
to
fun.
confirm it.
No, not as much fun anymore.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It is 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What the week weather-wise looks like. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Rain likely, but severe weather also possible too. The National Weather Service in Indianapolis says all severe weather threats are possible throughout Thursday and possibly into Friday. That includes hail, strong winds, and tornadoes. The final clemency hearing happening Monday for Benjamin Ritchie, convicted of shooting and killing Beech Grove cop William Toney in 2000. The Indiana Parole Board will make a non-binding recommendation whether to grant clemency, but it will be up to Governor Braun whether to grant it or not. A K-9 with the Greenfield Police Department in Hancock County has died after an encounter with an off-duty officer in New Palestine. The officer had to subdue K-9 Ace after he escaped from his home in New Pal and bit the officer next door, causing severe injuries. The Pacers tip off with the Cavs tonight at 7 in Cleveland, and IMS is open for business next hour for the first practice session leading up to the Indy 500. I'm Jarrett Lewis, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Life Church. You know, graduation is quite an accomplishment, and Life Church would like to wish congratulations to all of the graduates. Life Church wants to acknowledge this important milestone in the lives of graduating seniors and their families. You know, Life Church partners with families. Life Church pastors are there to walk through difficult times and to celebrate the wins. Learn more about how Life Church can be there for your family. Check them out on the web. Learn more about their 4 campuses across central Indiana: Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton, and great online services, lifechurchin.com.
Meet Alan, who was diagnosed with sleep apnea.
I was what they call a mouth breather, and I would breathe at night with my mouth open.
And for about 8 years, Alan struggled with a CPAP machine. And then
I saw the Advent commercial, and I thought, well, what do you got to lose? This machine is miserable.
For most people, CPAP machines are miserable, but a simple breathing triangle solution from Advent can be life-changing.
And it really was, to me, it was amazing because I don't think I ever breathed that clear.
This is Dr. Madan Kiandula. After having one of Advent's simple breathing triangle procedures, people are amazed at how freely and clearly they can breathe.
I'm happy with the procedure. I'm very glad I did it. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago. I could have avoided that machine I had to have laying next to the bed with the hose wrapped around my head.
Schedule your appointment at AdventKnows.com because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
It's the Bash Sale, the biggest automotive sale in history. Your local Bill Estes dealerships are coming in hot with deals on trucks you don't want to miss. We have a huge selection of trucks at one easy online stop. Brand new Chevy, Ford, GMC, Jeep, Ram, and Toyota trucks with a massive pre-owned selection too. Plus, our fair and direct upfront pricing means what you see is what you pay. Shift into savings during the Bash Sale, only at Bill Estes dealerships, and drive away in your dream truck today. Online at BillEstesTrucks.com.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577.
Service today?
Today.
Race into Pierce Jewelers in Carmel and make a pit stop to purchase that unique diamond engagement ring that will put you in the winner's circle. Remember, shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Yesterday, Donald Trump signed that executive order asking drug makers to make prescriptions in the U.S. as cheap as other countries. If they can't or if they don't, the government's going to force new rules and regulations. So the executive order is set for a 30-day deadline to give these drug makers price targets set by the Department of Health and Human Services.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a second.
Well, he had his big press conference yesterday while we were on the air.
That's right. And let's lay out what this guy is doing here. And it's not that simple. Because if it was that simple, other people would have done it. You can't executive order companies into lowering prices on things. You can, but there's going to be intense ramifications. And that's really the reality of where we're at, is what sort of system do you want to live under? It's when I was a kid, used to love to read the Choose Your Own Adventure novel. Mm-hmm. And that's where you read 3 or 4 pages in a book. To go down the cave, turn to page 36. To not be a dummy and go back to page 3. And then you choose your own adventure based on where you wanted to go. And what is clear is, yes, other countries. Now, I want to preface by saying, yes, the drug manufacturer lobby in this country is very powerful. And when you look at the amount of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars they have given to many of these politicians, they get their way. Okay, this doesn't happen in a vacuum. They're not on your side. They're not trying to be your friend. They're not advertising these things out of the goodness of their heart. They exist to make money. So I want to preface saying all of that. However, when you hear about how cheap someone's drugs are in another country, mm-hmm. or why are we paying whatever, that country is subsidizing that.
Correct.
Either through, it is through taxation, and then their residents pay for it, and then it's provided, it's money is given to the drug manufacturer, and then it's made available at a cheaper price. It's not like they're, in many cases, just selling it cheaper there and not here. That's not how they're global companies. It doesn't work that way. So what is happening is that we have a system which stymies competition. As we saw during COVID was another great example of this, where proven drugs such as ivermectin are scorned. You're belittled, you're acted like an idiot if you take those. And then experimental vaccines, which make the drug manufacturers rich, which don't actually work, which it does harm a lot of people, which has been proven. Casey, would you like to chime in on how the vaccine helped your family?
Well, and now we're locked into a very expensive drug for someone's entire life.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
That is pushed upon the people. That was a giveaway to the drug manufacturers. That's how a place like Eli Lilly goes from this sort of behavior, has a 406% increase in their stock price in 5 years, or a $600 billion increase in their market cap. The government rigs the system in favor of, and it picks winners and losers because the lobbyists, the donors, they give big money to these politicians to do that. The lack of competition is why our drug system is so expensive. The way the FDA stymies growth, stymies competition, holds things up, promotes bad things. Again, see COVID is the best example. So if you want a place in which, like when Trump talks about this favored nations thing, it's completely ridiculous because these drug manufacturers already have deals with these other countries. And Tony actually had an economist on who was, I forget what the guy's name was yesterday, but he was able to lay this out in a much more eloquent way than I am. But basically what happens with the competition is, okay, if they sell it to the United States cheaper or at the same price, then they have to pay a fine to that country. Well, they're going to pay the fine somewhere, which means they're going to tack on the price somewhere, which means you're going to end up paying for it somehow. And ultimately, you're going to end up subsidizing it through your taxes. You're going to alter the way medicine and the way healthcare is disseminated in this country, and it's going to get more expensive and not as good. See Europe.
Yeah.
See Britain.
Well, the drug prices, they're cheaper in other countries because they have the universal health care,
That's right.
When so many people within that country are required to take that medicine, they say, okay, you know what? We're just going to give it for everybody. So even if you're not taking that medication, you're being taxed for it based on their universal healthcare system.
Think about how, and yes, obviously our healthcare is very expensive. Insurance is totally out of control. I'm not disputing that. But I'm thinking about it in terms of the actual administration of healthcare in this country. And again, we have major issues with illegal immigrants invading our medical facilities. My wife's mother is a nurse. She sees at a very prominent local hospital. She sees it every single day. I hear about it all the time. And the amount of freebies they get and how they live in those hospitals and all that. I'm not disputing that. But for the average person, if you wake up with some sort of ailment or affliction, generally within a day or two, you can see your local medical provider who can do a full examination of you and then make a medical suggestion, a drug suggestion. And for the most part, not always, but for the most part, you can then walk to your local pharmacy or drive to your local pharmacy, which tends to usually be within a mile or two of your residence, and get that thing in the same day. That's way better than most countries. That system and the way you get access to care, the quality of care you get, and the ability to get access to drugs in our country is way better than most other countries. Now, you pay for it, and you shouldn't be paying as much as you are, and the system is totally rigged in favor of these companies. But the idea that Trump can just stroke a pen and go, now that something is 80% cheaper than it was before, that ain't how this works.
What I don't like to hear is how, well, you're going to lose all your research and development then. Well, can we start with the lobbyists first? Can they take the money from that first?
Yeah, and that's I mean, it's hogwash. How much they spend on advertising? How many of these ads do we see?
I saw a Jardines commercial this morning.
Thank you, right? I mean, it's totally out of control. But it is the system itself and the way the system is structured that blocks out competition, that it's the same reason health insurance is so expensive. Why you can't buy, if somebody else in another state wants to sell you a health insurance policy, beyond me. Also, why do you need things more than what you want? If you want a basic plan that says, I want this one thing covered and I want to pay for this, or this is my thing, you should be able to do that. All of these things are government intervention driven that are raising the cost of things for people. And while it's admirable that Trump may want to lower the cost of prescription drugs, Biden essentially tried this with the Medicare negotiating thing a couple of years ago. Did things get any cheaper? This was what Obamacare was supposed to be all about, right? Did things get any cheaper? Has the government ever gotten involved in anything and you said, ooh, that ended up much better than when we started?
Cause of and solution
That's
too.
right.
One of the things that Trump said that caught a lot of people's attention, he was talking about Ozempic, and he mentioned that he's got a fat friend.
I mean, I'll tell you a story. A friend of mine who's a businessman, very, very, very top guy. Most of you would have heard of him. A highly neurotic, brilliant businessman, seriously overweight, and he takes the fat shot drug. And he called me up, and he said, President, he calls me, he used to call me Donald, now he calls me President, so that's nice respect. But he's a rough guy, smart guy, very successful, very rich. I wouldn't even know how we would know this, but because he's got comments. President, could I ask you a question? What? I'm in London, and I just paid for this damn fat drug I take. I said, it's not working. he said, I just paid $88. And in New York, I pay $1,300. What the hell is going on?
Who's he talking about?
Well, this is always my favorite part of any Trump speech or whatever. He'll be telling some story, and then it always veers off into how it benefits him. And, he calls me president now. He used to call me Donald. Now he calls me president. It's a president.
He always makes it about himself.
He's very rich, and he calls me president. It's like every time he starts, Ted died. Lincoln was sad. Ted died. Did you know, Rogan? Did you know Ted died? There's the picture of him. It's a tiny picture because he was tiny Ted.
Well, according to the Department of Health and Human Services, the U.S. does pay 3 times as much as people in comparable countries for the exact same medication.
Lincoln was, they didn't call it depression, Casey. They called it melancholy.
Melancholy. I want to know who Trump was talking about. Some people were saying, is it Chris Christie? No, it's not him. Is it Elon Musk? Because Elon Musk has been known to take Ozempic or Wegovy, one of the weight loss medications.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't know if we'll ever know.
I don't know.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show 3:06 this afternoon. Brace yourselves. Nigel is out today. Jeff Boggs is going to fill in. We got Carb Day tickets to give away. Let's have a show.
Don Fisher here for QC Kinetics. I want to share with you the best thing I've done for my knee pain. I've been hearing commercials about the groundbreaking treatments that QC Kinetics offers for months. Meantime, my chronic knee pain had hit an all-time high threshold. I wanted to stay active and enjoy playing golf again without the pain. So I decided to call and book an appointment. And what I found out was that QC Kinetics is the non-surgical solution. I have no knee pain and feel like I did 10 years ago. And it's all because of the non-invasive therapy from QC Kinetics.
Discover the solution to joint pain with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. For a free consultation, call 463-282-6886.
I'm back to playing golf and enjoying life. Take it from me, this is the best call you can make to relieve your orthopedic pain.
For your free consultation, call QC Kinetics today. 463-282-6886. 463-282-6886.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Universal Windows Direct. You know, it is May, the weather is getting warm, and you may be saying, I'm feeling a little hot here in this house. One way to fix that might be your windows. Yes, if your windows are getting old and worn down, right now is the perfect time to check out Universal Windows Direct because they've got their home improvement season sale. Well, right now, get this, 50% off on your windows. 50% off on your windows, half off. Then on top of that, no interest and no payments for 12 months. Yes, no interest, no payments for 12 months. And last but certainly not least, a free entry door with your window purchase. So let's review. Half off your windows, no interest, no payments for 12 months, and a free entry door with your window purchase. Now, some restrictions may apply. So to get all the information, all the details, and most importantly, schedule your totally free in-home estimate, call Universal Windows Direct today. 317-659-7574, 317-659-7574. Check them out on the web, universalwindowsdirect.com, universalwindowsdirect.com. Tell them Rob sent you.
If you love spring and Indy but hate the paint, do what Lynn did. She called Rhino Shield.
It is a single-wide manufactured home. We moved from our home, which we had the Rhino Shield on. Rhino Shield was what we were going to do. That was no question. We knew we were going to do it.
Rhino Shield's a ceramic coating. It's not paint, it's better.
The Rhino Shield representative came, and we discussed what we wanted done. And this time, we had the roof done as well.
Now, you can have the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
Even the people that have been a little younger than us have said they don't have to worry about getting just an everyday painter because Rhino Shield has the 25-year warranty, and we truly believe in this product.
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino!
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Life insurance is one of those things that just about everybody needs, but few people actually have. Hey, if you die unexpectedly without life insurance, guess what? You'll leave your family with even a bigger mess. Life insurance will help replace your family's income. It'll help cover burial expenses. Life insurance can even help pay off debt like credit cards and medical bills. Life insurance can even pay for college. And if you own a business and you die, life insurance can help your business from collapsing. It can even help cover estate taxes. Life insurance has never been more affordable and needed. Plus, you can always shop around even if you have a plan and save some money. So call the Life Insurance Quote Line right now for free pricing information.
800-917-8730. 800-917-8730. 800-917-8730. That's 800-917-8730.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar!
Miss M's annual open house is Saturday. Save 20% off everything in stock, excluding labor. Saturday only. Miss M's on State Road 135, south of Whiteland Road in Bargersville.
The WIBC mashup is everything you love, from fiery debates to laugh out loud takes, all in one podcast. No weak sauce, just the best of the day each weekday. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts.
Slipping into the future.
Rob, from time to time, you have made the comment, if I just go sit under a tree and turn my phone off, everything will disappear.
That's correct. You people don't exist.
Yeah. Right. So there's a new show alert that I want to bring to your attention. I believe the streaming starts today and it concludes tomorrow, and it's on Fox Nation. It's hosted by Greg Gutfeld, and it's called What Did I Miss? It's a new Fox Nation reality game show. Let's check it out.
From the world. No TV, no phones, no social media, just time. Endless time.
Oh my gosh, joining us now, those 4 that did make it. The show is called What Did I Miss? And we have contestants. We have Sunny and Mark, Allegra and Mike. Yes. In this house we just saw. What did you do during the day? And what was it like to not have social media? Was it kind of nice?
The social media aspect and the technology was nice to kind of cut away, because there's a reconnection, I think, that happens, especially with creativity and how you think and just your soul, mind, and spirit. But
Okay,
we
so
played games.
The premise of the show, Rob, is that contestants go off the grid for 90 days. They have no access to phones, no news, no internet. They had 4 people, and they were living in isolation in New York's Hudson Valley.
Yeah.
And the show's goal was to guess which news events actually happened during their absence.
Oh, wow.
They were competing for up to $50,000, and after 90 days, they were taken blindfolded and with headphones on to a studio, and then they're quizzed on what is real and what is fake news headlines.
How'd they do? Do we know?
Well, we don't know, because it's starting tonight.
Usually that stuff leaks out, so
Yeah.
we don't know who won. I was thinking about this last night. I went for a evening stroll after I put my daughter to bed, and I was walking around the neighborhood, and I was like thinking of all of these things. Like, there's specific places that I go, and I can literally see. It's like something out of a movie. Like, I will stop on a sidewalk and look at a house, and I can look in a house. And been in so many of those houses. I can remember growing up in these various houses, or playing in these driveways, or these courts, or whatever. And I was thinking to myself last night as I was walking, I was like, kids are missing out on so much of that now. I almost never see kids just out playing, like backyard football or basketball, or you never see it anymore. And it can't be that I'm just missing it. It seems clear to me that they're just not doing that anymore, that we are a device-driven society.
Yeah, not only the devices, but so much busier, I think, with so much more homework than what I ever had.
Really? There's more homework now?
I feel like it, yeah.
No kidding.
And if your child is involved in any sort of sports.
Yeah, it's all organized.
It's the organized sports now is so, like, it used to be like a 2 or maybe even a 3 sport athlete. And now it's like, you get to pick one.
Yeah.
And you have to, all summer long, and then you have your travel team, and that's all, just taking up so much of your time.
It's funny because Jake Query, who does the midday show on The Fan, was talking about this the other day about these travel baseball parents and how they're really doing a disservice to these parents because they sell it because they need all the parents to fund the thing, right? And they are doing a disservice by not being honest with these parents and saying, look, maybe one kid out of this group is going to go on to excel at this in college, much less at a professional level, right? And so it's what would be interesting to talk about that with is Phil Sanchez, because his kid is a very good youth baseball player and they travel all over the place. And I would be curious to get his perspective on that, because he grew up in New York and was a good baseball player. You don't see the Sandlot games anymore. You don't see that stuff anymore. And I would be curious from like his son's perspective. I think his son maybe 10 maybe. It would seem to me you kind of get isolated in terms of your friends, because that becomes your whole world is this week we're going here and this versus, hey, all week we're out playing and we're doing this. And now I'm playing basketball with these kids and football with these kids. And that maybe we'll ask Phil to come on and talk about that, because I think that is very interesting to me. How
it does have its advantages, but it's also limiting as well.
Yeah,
on the things that you can do with your time.
It does.
Yeah,
and you know how I value my free time.
Yeah. Well, you've got more of it starting now.
That's right. We're done.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. And thank you for listening today. This has been Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz here for Premier Arms in Brownsburg. This is your premier gun store. Premier Arms has the experience and know-how to help the new gun buyer and the most experienced marksman. They've been in business for over 20 years and have a friendly, knowledgeable staff that wants to help you, not talk down to you. Premier Arms in Brownsburg is family-friendly, so bring the kids. All ages are welcome. Everyone can find what they're looking for at Premier Arms in Brownsburg, 3754 South Green Street, online at premierarms.com. Tell them Tony Katz sent you, premierarms.com.
Guys, don't waste time and money with low-quality online TRT that charges you over $100 just to start. Visit the TRT experts at the Low T Center for a free consultation and a free test. Treatment is personalized to your body, and most major insurances accept it. Looking to lose weight? Get a free B12 shot when you start prescription treatment right now at the Low T Center. Offer is limited, but book right now. FixMyLowT.com. That's FixMyLowT.com.
Big Joe here for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical.
Summer heat is coming. Will your air conditioner be ready? Don't risk an expensive breakdown. A quick tune-up from B&W catches problems early and keeps your family cool and comfortable. Join thousands of Hoosiers who trust B&W. Call 317-214-0108 or go to bplusw.com today.
B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard dealer since 1961.
It's the strongest hearts that remind us to cherish the moments. It's the grandmas who made us sit up straighter, the grandpas who showed us old records, and the parents who were embarrassingly loud at our games. It's those hearts that are anything but ordinary. Caring for extraordinary hearts for decades, Franciscan Health knows heart care is more than just a name on a chart. It's somebody who shaped your whole life